We streaming. We live. Are we live? Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Hotep History Live. Episode 23. I am your host, President Hotep Dudes, reporting live from Hotep Nation. I hope you guys have had a wondrous, wondrous weekend. Hope you learned something. You dig? I know I have. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I know I have. Um, yeah, man. I'm so happy to be back. Like, let it be known, I was having connectivity issues, as you guys know, but we fixed that because I bought a 100-foot Ethernet cord. So that way I can plug my laptop into my modem directly. You dig? So we should have no issues with connectivity this evening. You dig what I'm saying? God forbid there is some. I will create a recording of this so I still be able to, upload it to the Patreon. Patreon.com/Hotep History. Again, Patreon.com/Hotep History. I hope you guys have been having a good life since the last time we spoke live. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I'm seeing on my screen that my connectivity is excellent. So I think we're going to have a great program this evening. So I'm gonna let y'all know something, man. I've been listening to this one song all day. It's by my man Lupe Fiasco. He made this song called Sunshine. I don't know why. I just been playing this song all day long. It's a beautiful song. If you've ever heard it or never heard it, please check it out. Obviously, I can't play it because YouTube gonna strike my joint. That was another thing. Since I've been able to monetize this channel, I can't get away with nothing no more. YouTube has been hitting me with strikes and all types of stuff. I was playing a video, like a playback. I was just playing back a video, and in that video, there was some music, copywritten music or whatever, or copyrighted music, excuse me. And yeah, YouTube hit me up. Now, I ain't gonna lie, it was bittersweet. Not gonna hold you, because up until this point, there was no monetization. And now that I am able to, monetize and all that other stuff, it's been pretty dope. So yeah, you got to deal with what's going on. Now, I will say that I am going to be streaming on Kick and other places who don't really, care about all of that other stuff. They don't care about the censorship, because I told y'all I don't like saying things like the R word or the N word or anything like that. I like to speak freely. I don't like to be censored. You know what I'm saying? I like to say what I mean and mean what I say. So again, y'all not going the grape and all the other stuff. Grape is a word, okay? Grape is a word. Grape is a fruit. Maybe a berry. It may be a berry. I don't know. But I know grape is a fruit. I don't want to use grape for that word. Grape can also be a color. Grape can also be a flavor. But what it's not is, you dig? So, yeah. What else? Just, just been learning a lot, man. Just been doing my thing. I've been working out. You dig? Getting my figure right. Gotta get right. Yeah, just meeting interesting people, having good conversations. And it's just all about learning and getting better. Now, I have a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about this evening. That's history based, some is contemporary. And before we get into it, I want to scroll on down my page real quick just to give a quick condolences and rest in peace. To Judge Frank Caprio. Okay, you guys may not know this. I moved around a lot. I was born in New York, and in 2003, I want to say, my mom and my sister and I, we moved to Providence, Rhode Island. It was kind of like the first trenches that I lived in, so to speak. And not gonna lie, I was outside. I jumped off the stoop right before we moved from New York. Like, I was not gonna lie to y'all, man. In 2001, I started smoking. I was doing hood rat things at a young age. Don't do it. I don't encourage it. I don't condone it. You dig? Stay sober, kids. But I was off the stoop. I was outside, and in all of the ways that a young boy could be outside in the early 2000s. I've always had like a creative thing. Like, in my hood, I was the first person with a CD burner. So I was selling CDs and stuff like that. I had a, it's funny I titled it this way, but I titled it Drew's Legacy. That was my mixtape series. So I would have like playlists and stuff that I would create, and then also albums and different mixtapes that were actually being released by DJ. So I was out there selling DVDs, and while I was out there, my older friends, I never forget, man. He walked past me. He had a duffel bag, right? And the duffel bag was full of money. Now, when I was a kid, at the time, it looked like $1 million in this duffel bag. And I was like, yo, like, where'd you get all of this money from? All of this stuff. And he was like, yo, I hustle. And if you want to get money like this, little nigga, you going to have to hustle too. Now, at the time, I was, like 13, and he was like 18, 19. So, of course, this dude is a full-blown adult. He might as well have been 30 years old. You feel me? So, from there, I was inspired, wrongly inspired kids, to, jump out on the street. And I did. I was active up until I want to say like my 17th, 18th birthday to when I moved from Providence. But in between that time, I was out there being a menace. And I caught my first juvenile case, possession or something. Well, my first case for real was assault on a police officer. So that's how it went. So I was in class, and I was being disruptive. Like I was a knucklehead. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. I was a knucklehead, and I was being disruptive. I had a MP3 player playing in my ear, and the teacher could hear it. It was disrupting the class, all types of stuff. So she kicked me out of the class. So I'm taking my time to gather my things, being a class clown and all of that. So in where I was at, there was no security guards. It was just police. It was the like legitimate police that was our security. And so she calls the cop up to the classroom, and he comes. Big dude, big Portuguese dude. One thing about New England is very multicultural. You're going to see a lot of like different cultures and stuff like that. I got introduced to, all different types of people, Dominicans and Puerto Ricans, and I've had them in New York, but like Cape Verdeans, Portuguese, Russian. There's a smorgasbord of different ethnicities and stuff like that. And so this big Portuguese cop, he came, and he's like, come on. I'm like, man, I ain't call you. So, I'm still getting laughs out of the classroom and all of that other stuff. So I finally walk out in the hallway, and he's talking cash shit to me, y'all. Like, he's talking cash shit to me. Like, yeah, you're going to be nothing but a nigger, all of that other stuff. He was talking to me bad, y'all. And he was poking me in my chest at the same time. Now, mind you, at this time, I'm probably like 5'10", 5'11". And so I'm like, yo, fam, like, stop touching me. Stop touching me. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, he kept poking me. Like, what are you going to do about it? So I hooked off on him. I ain't even going to lie to you. I hooked off on a police officer. So I'm thinking I'm getting mine in, like, boop, bop, bing. Like, I'm hitting them with everything that I got, because this is the first time that I'm really, like, fighting a police officer, son. So he calls for backup. And chat, when I tell you, these cops whooped my ass. You hear me? They smoked my boots in that hallway. They smoked my boots in the hallway and then carried me like one of them pigs on a pit where they got, like both of the legs is like this on the stick and all of that. They carried me out to school like this, threw me in the back of the squad car, and proceeded to beat my ass even more. Now, from the school that I went to at the time to the police station, it's a 2-minute drive. You can see the police station from where we was parked at. It took them 15, maybe even 30 minutes to get to the police station, son. They was whooping my ass in the back of that squad car, son. So, of course, I had drugs on me and all this other stuff. So, assault on a police officer, possession and all this other stuff, right? And they sent me to juvie for 3 months. Now, my mom's, being the wonderful church lady that she is, she wanted me to dress up and put on my, best clothes and stuff like that to make a good impression in the courtroom. And I'm like, yo, Ma, they're not about to let me go home. I promise you, I'm not going to be able to go home. And I want to put sneakers on because They're gonna take my laces, you know what I'm saying? And I at the very least I still be able to walk around, go outside, and use my sneakers and play ball or whatever it is outside. My mother, of course, no, you gotta dress up, gotta dress up. I'm like, yo, mom, I'm telling you, I'm not coming home with you. I promise you. But you gotta listen to moms, right? So we go there. Judge is like, Judge Caprio was like, yo, listen, 3 months. I'll see you in 3 months. It is what it is. So I did my 90 days and all of that. And yeah, so I came back to court, my court date. And Judge Caprio, I didn't even go to like the actual courtroom. We went directly to his chambers. You know what I'm saying? It's the first time I ever seen a judge's chambers and all of that. It was a nice office. Everything was like mahogany wood. It was super nice in there, mad books. And so I'm standing there, um, and he's like, yo, what do you want to do with your life? And I'm like, well, I definitely don't want to be a criminal. I definitely don't that's not the, type of life that I want to live and all of that other stuff. And, my mom being my advocate, letting them know that I'm in the graphic design, that I have my own business, that I've been working at a local store. I tell y'all about Hev Store all of the time. So, we was just telling him all of this stuff. And he was like, yo, listen, I have the ability to send you back to juvie for 2 years, or I can send you home. Now, I ain't gonna lie, still trying to keep my frame, still trying to, stay tough. So I'm like, you gonna do what you gonna do and all this other stuff. Try to play it cool. And he laughed at me. And he was like, Drew, listen, you're a good kid. You're not a criminal. You're not a bad guy. And I do believe you have the ability to do anything that you put your mind to, and you don't need to be locked up in a cage. You're a good kid. You come from good stock. You pointed to my mom and all this other stuff. He's like, yo, listen, I do not ever want to see you in my courtroom at all ever again. I'm going to send you home. You can go home, enjoy your summer, all of that. Or I actually was most of the summer in juvie, but like the rest of the summer and all of that. And I never seen Judge Caprio again. I never seen him again. I never, got in trouble with the law in that way again. And so Judge Caprio was always a good egg in my book. And so it's very sad, but he's 88 years old. So I just want to say rest in peace to Judge Frank Caprio, man. I've seen you go viral over the years. And every time that I've seen you go viral, it was always something positive. One of the more famous ones that he's gone viral for was when, the super elderly father was driving his elderly, like less elderly son to like doctor's appointments and stuff. Like the father had to have been like 80, 90 years old, driving his 60, 70-year-old son to doctor's appointments and stuff like that. And he was driving without a license or something like that. And, Judge Caprio let him go. And you'll see a lot of it. If you ever look him up on YouTube or whatever, like you'll see a lot of cases like that. So shout out to Judge Caprio. Who knows what my life would have been like if I would have did those 2 years in juvie. I went on to, do great things, I believe, being one of the founders of Hotep Nation, having a beautiful daughter, and just, all of the things that I've been able to accomplish in my life. So I truly appreciate Judge Caprio for what he's done for me and everybody else who's ever come across him in his courtrooms. Super salute to Judge Caprio. You dig? So I've been on the timeline, y'all. I've been on the timeline, and I've been, just bookmarking stuff that I found interesting. And so let's get into it. I don't know how long the stream is going to be this evening. But we're going to get into it. We're going to start from the beginning. We're going to scroll on down. It's a lot of stuff. It's a preview of what we're going to be talking about. So let's see. We got some things here. We can start with this. I think this is where I left off in my bookmarks. No. There's more stuff. Jeez. I was bookmarking a lot, y'all. So let's see. Yeah, let's start here. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen clips of this PSA. So it's called "The Secret of Selling the Negro." It was made in 1954, the same year, of course, as the Brown versus Board decision, Supreme Court decision. And this is in the era of American history where integration via the government is being enforced and stuff like that. And so what I call forceful integration was underway. And I originally thought that this video was made by white people, but it wasn't. So let's get into it. Let's start here.
The secret of selling to the Negro is expressed in one word. That word is recognition. Now, there's nothing unusual about that. People want to be recognized. They need recognition. That's basic in all of us. But perhaps because he's had so little of it, the Negro needs even more. He needs to feel important and appreciated. This need is a very real and important one. It shows up even in many of the Negro's shopping habits. Anyone who sells or wants to sell to the Negro customer should know about some of these habits. 3 habits in particular play a big part in every sales transaction. To begin with, most Negroes buy by brand. They ask for products by name. They're quick to turn down off-brands. Do you wonder why? Well, listen to what this customer is thinking.
That last hat I bought just didn't hold up at all.
You see, for a long time, the Negro has been sold a lot of shoddy, second-class merchandise. So now he asks for name brands in order to make sure he gets his money's worth. Buying by brand, that's the first important Negro buying habit. Now for the second. The Negro buys good quality merchandise. Symbols of quality and prestige are very important to the Negro customer. This woman, for example, is buying fine crystalware. But she is also buying the admiration and approval of her friends and relatives. Listen to her thoughts.
My, isn't it beautiful? I can hardly wait to show it to Sally and Joan.
It's a well-known fact that many Negro customers are influenced by the opinions of others. What their friends may think of a certain item often decides whether or not the sale is made. So remember, the Negro buys quality merchandise. That's the second important point. And here's the third thing to remember when selling to a Negro customer. When he specifically asks for one thing, don't try to sell him something else. Don't try to switch him at the point of sale. If you do, he'll probably react something like this.
Doesn't he think I've got the money to pay for it?
There's a reason for this reaction. Again, because he's had experience with cheap merchandise, the Negro resents being offered a substitute. He wants to be sold on quality, not price. The Negro buys by brand, he buys quality, and he doesn't like to be switched at point of sale. These are the keys to selling the Negro customer.
So before we go to the next part, so even in the caption of this tweet, it says, "The secret of selling the Negro in 1954, we were studied and targeted as a new market. Blacks made up $15 billion. A lot of these same tactics to take the black dollar are still being used today. History shows you why and when," which is true. But I think a lot of people think that this was created by white people. And it wasn't. It was actually created by the Johnson Publishing Company, the same Johnson Publishing Company that owns Jet Magazine, Ebony Magazine, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm not mistaken, this is the other Johnson Company. It's a lot of Johnson companies in the 50s, but the other one actually went public. But this one, like I said, it's yo, what's good? Oh, dag, everybody in the chat, what's going on, everybody? I didn't even see y'all. Welcome. Hope you guys are getting, comfortable in here. We're gonna be here for a little bit. Shout out to Bert. Shout out to Vincent. My boy Vinny. Vinny always gonna give me my salutes. Vinny. You know what I'm working for. I'm working for my 2 targets. You feel me? I'm working for my 2 targets. Don't give it up just yet. You feel me? Let me work for it. Pause. Sauce. Shout out to you, Nikki. Thank you for coming through. JB Smooth, of course, thank you. So check this out. So the Johnson Publishing Company came out with this, and what people have to understand, what's going on, y'all, everybody in here, man. That's what I'm talking about. So when it comes down to selling to the Negro, this was a black-owned business, pretty much purporting to the greater economy on how to be able to garner black consumers. And again, I tell y'all all of the time that once we get into the late 50s, going into the 60s and stuff like that, the transition from being producers to consumers is happening a lot. The black towns I talk about all of the time when it comes down to being producers. All of the businesses were black owned. So all of the producers were black when it comes to, the towns and stuff like that. And then you had stores like Sears and Roebuck, which then just became Sears, came into town. And Sears was unique because it was a mail order service. So during a time where black people either were barred from or just chose not to shop in white-owned businesses, Sears and Roebuck came and basically became the Amazon of their time, where you can just order things through the mail and you'll get your goods that way. So Sears didn't care what you look like, because all they're seeing is, James Johnson in, Mound Bayou, Mississippi, or Jane Johnson in Allentown, California, or wherever it is. And of course, because they're coming with a lot more capital and stuff, they were able to sell a wider variety of different products and stuff like that. So that hit the black towns pretty hard. A lot of the local business owners complained to high heaven. And I was, telling people on one of my old streams or whatever, it's like, imagine you're a black business owner in a black town and the entire population is black, maybe a white resident or two, but it's 98, 99% black, right? And you rely on these dollars. You rely on these dollars to maintain profitability, to maintain inventory, to maintain, salaries and stuff like that. And more people that live in the town that you live in, that you survive and thrive in, are going to the post office as opposed to going into your store. How would you feel about that? Like, how would you feel watching your customer base literally go do business with somebody else that doesn't even exist in your town? And I was, just telling people how a lot of black business owners spoke out against this stuff. They told people, first of all, when it came down to black towns, they understood that, you guys are our bread and butter. We don't have a town if we don't have residents. If we don't have people inhabiting, our town, then it's really no reason to. In a lot of towns, I know people like to bring up the burning of Tulsa or Wilmington, North Carolina, or Rosewood, and all of these different riots and stuff like that. But by and large, one of the bigger reasons was economics. And you're going to see that in Black American history. I understand that you have been told that violence and domestic terrorism was like the end all be all to the decisions that black Americans made, but that's just not the truth. It was economics. You had a lot of black towns that were relatively small, maybe a mile or two long, maybe just had a few thousand residents and stuff like that, and they were adjacent or not too far away from the bigger city, right? So for instance, in Illinois, you had Brooklyn, Illinois, and you had New Philadelphia, Illinois. They were founded while slavery was happening. This is in the 1850s, 1830s. And so when you start to see Chicago being developed, you're going to want to move to Chicago. Like, I don't know how far Brooklyn, Illinois, or New Philadelphia, Illinois is, but you're going to want to move to Chicago. You dig what I'm saying? So a lot of people are leaving these towns. Same thing when it comes to places like Boley, Oklahoma, or Langston, Oklahoma, home of Langston University, at HBCU. And we have footage of Langston University being built by Tuskegee graduates and stuff like that. It has a rich history. However, they're not too far away from Tulsa. So that was one of the things. So in the same way people were leaving the towns, eventually, but for economic reasons, it's the same thing when it came down to these mail order companies. And for for the black business owners, this was almost a death knell for a lot of them. If they weren't able to sustain themselves, they went out of business because they needed black patronage. They needed patronage overall, but of course they're going to need patronage from their, directly from their residents. And it was a shame that we saw all of this stuff, but in the game of, it was about 4 hours from Chicago. Okay, so yeah. So when it comes down to this type of stuff, you're going to see people as consumers make the best decisions for them as consumers. And Sears and Roebuck, just to be honest, they had either cheaper prices or higher quality in certain things. Now, don't get me wrong, the ancestors were artisans. I mean, the craftsmanship of the ancestors is second to none in so many different ways. But again, just look at it like in today's context. There are people who are willing or just are more willing to go to Amazon or Walmart or these big box stores as opposed to going to a local hardware shop. They'll rather go to Home Depot or Lowe's than go to the hardware shop. They'll rather go to Walmart instead of the local grocer and stuff like that. So these type of economic behaviors have been around for a very long time. So going back to this documentary or PSA, you are having these people being like, yo, listen, we are great consumers. And when you start to hear the narration of this stuff, they like they like name brands, they like high quality, don't undersell them, don't try to, just because he's black, don't think that he can afford it. All of these things are absolutely true as it pertains to black Americans. However, when you have the capital to be able to directly advertise to black Americans, right? Companies like McDonald's or Hennessy, when you going into the 60s and 70s, they almost like exclusively had black models, black actors and stuff like that in their ads and stuff like that to be able to get, black patronage. And that's where all of this stuff comes from. When you see black people in commercials to this day, it comes from this blueprint in 1954 because so many, other non-black businesses didn't care to cater to black Americans. It just wasn't a priority. And so this was, again, a shock for me when I found out that this was a black owned or black controlled, production. Because I'm thinking like, yo, you are the Johnson Publishing Company. You are the people who publish Ebony and Jet magazine. And I know from the perspective of them, it's like, well, shit, we want white subscribers. We want Asian subscribers. We just come read Ebony. Just come read Jet magazine. It doesn't matter. And from the consumer side, it's like, yo, this is going to do some harm to black businesses because I do think that this was like kind of backed by the government and stuff like that. So when it was it, I know it was a PSA, but anyway, when it comes to this, now more and more companies are being incentivized to cater to the black consumer. And when you think about like the forbidden fruit or the forbidden, treasures and stuff like that, to where now it's like, well, we were barred from these places. We weren't allowed in these places and stuff like, and now they're catering directly to us. This must mean that we have some equal footing now and all this other stuff, but it was truly just to get as many black dollars as possible. Now, I can't say for sure if that's what Johnson Publishing Company, his intention was, to be able to, spread the black dollar outside of the community. But that was the byproduct or the result of this. So let's finish this up.
Another point. The Negro family does things together, as a group. The family works as a unit. It lives as a unit, and it buys as a unit. When you sell to one member, you many times sell to all. It's also true that many places of entertainment are still closed to the Negro. So he spends more of his money for the things that are available to him, often for items that are considered luxuries. Another trait of the Negro market is the fact that it is a pre-sold market. We know that the Negro buys by brand, and he buys the brands that he knows something about. Where does the Negro buyer get this information? We know that Negro customers are turning more and more to the publications that are tailored specifically to their needs. that give them the news and the information that they want to read about. Many leading businessmen and companies already know this. That's why so many of them are taking this direct, sure route of reaching the Negro customer. The vice president of advertising of the Drew & Watch Company, for example, says this.
In many important cities throughout the United States, Negroes are important customers of the credit jeweler. Therefore, it seemed that Ebony magazine would be a very important advertising medium for us. We would say it was very well received, and from our viewpoint, a very successful campaign.
From the Remington Rand Company comes this statement.
Our records show that advertising in Ebony has been effective in many ways. As all good advertising should, it has built a terrific amount of goodwill and has brought a volume of sales and sales inquiries.
A representative of the Alaga Syrup Company makes this statement.
Because of Alaga's regard for the influence of Ebony in the Negro market, advertising space was doubled. Alaga's long experience in selling to Negroes now takes the most direct route to it.
So, there it is. All we had to do was just finish watching the clip. So, the incentive for Ebony was that they get to sell advertising space to businesses. So, if the Johnson Publishing Company, who owns Ebony, right, is having a bunch of white businesses or non-black businesses advertise inside of their publication, they are incentivized economically to be, hey, listen, eat this, drink this, wear that, like, because they're able to make money from it. So again, I'm not going to sit here and say that this was all the way nefarious, but I do think that if there was a concerted effort to maintain Black American businesses inside of these publications and advertise, I think that would have been, you know, the better option, obviously. However, yes, as we can see, when it came down to the Johnson Publishing Company, and most Black businesses, period, they were open to doing business with anybody else. I talk about this often when we talk about like integration and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, why didn't our so-called white allies just come shop with us? If this whole thing is about you not being a racist and you are for equality or, you know, whatever it is, bring your white ass to our Black businesses so that way we can get some of that white money. I think that would be, you know, fair exchange, no robbery. And that's not what happened. The opposite happens, where now the ancestors is getting milkshakes poured on their head, you know, their food spit in, being attacked and all of these different things in the name of the same thing. And I think personally that if we would have had a consortium of white Americans who truly believed in allyship and all of the stuff that they were talking about politically, take their money and bring it to the Black side of town, I think that would have had even greater effect, because now the white business owners are like, damn, I'm losing money by being discriminatory and racist and stuff like that. And our ancestors wouldn't have to have been humiliated in public just to make a statement. And that's just one of my own personal beliefs. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, that is where you start to see the beginning of Black Americans. This is the beginning of the transition from coming from being producers to becoming consumers. It was all about selling to the Negro and making sure you were getting the Negro dollar, the Black dollar, and all this other stuff. And that's where, that's where it begins. So be mindful of that. When I talk about, in our last stream, we talked about you either own or you owe, right? That's what I mean. It's either you're going to produce or you're going to consume, by and large, right? There should be a balance, obviously, but for the most part, you definitely want to be a producer. You want to be somebody that's actually providing goods and services to the general public to make sure that you are enriching yourself, your community, et cetera, et cetera. I don't believe that Ebony was being, obtuse or nefarious about it, but I do think that when you have people having the money to advertise in their magazine, they're not going to turn it down. So I do think that had a definite negative impact on the Black dollar for sure. So what else we got? Let's see. This was some good game. This is some good game. Let's get into this. This is a short one.
See, I'll probably get in trouble for telling you this secret, but here goes. Some of our families, okay, get together once a year and eat barbecue and or fish, you know, a family reunion. And there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But did you know that some of the other families go beyond that and get together once a year to shape their financial destiny? And these aren't just meetings, they're the foundation of a lasting legacy, okay? Allow me to introduce the concept of a family wealth office to you. Imagine having a dedicated team working tirelessly to safeguard and grow your family's wealth for generations to come. That's the power of a family wealth office. And you start with the family wealth office mission statement. Now, it's more than words on paper, it's a beacon guiding your family's dreams. With a clear mission, every decision propels you toward prosperity. And when you blend annual meetings with the powerful mission, you're not just managing wealth, you're nurturing it. You're building communication, unity, purpose, something that transcends generations, okay? And now you know something else.
That's a fact. So I talk a lot about generational wealth, especially back in like my old page when we was, pushing financial literacy. I personally was able to help, up to about 1,000 homes, mainly Black American homes, to rise themselves out of poverty based upon just teaching them financial literacy and stuff is something that I'm very proud of. And a lot of people don't understand the power of family when it comes to wealth building. See, the thing is, when we start talking about the system or the enemy, or even when you start talking about like white supremacy and stuff like that, you got to understand, if you understand your enemy, then you'll be able to basically reverse engineer the way you're supposed to defend yourself from them. So we know that the enemy wants us individualized. They want us, scattered, separate. So that makes it easier to conquer us, right? Because there is no sense of family. There is no this sense of community and stuff like that. And people have to understand that when you talk about community, when you talk about towns, especially when you talk about it in the ancestral, context, family was everything. My granny, she's one of 13. And I think her people's was one of like 19 or something like that. Like, that's how Black American families were formed, largely because this is the lineage of former slaves. This is the lineage of sharecroppers and stuff like that. And if you are a sharecropping family and you are tilling on 10, 20, 30 acres of land, you need as many hands on deck to be able to maintain that land, to be able to get as much money as possible. Because we know that when it came down to sharecropping, it was a debt system, right? So the landlord would advance you or loan you money or loan you crops, farmhand, tools, equipment, clothes and stuff like that. And then they would get their money on the back end after you harvested the crop. So in the case of like, say, cotton or whatever, I think cotton at any interval, like the commodity of cotton, the prices, fluctuated throughout the decades and stuff like that. And it was 50% usually, right? 50% of your crop would be taken as payment to, pay back the loan. However, another part of this debt cycle or debt system was that the interest rates were extremely high. Extremely high. I talk about this all of the time. We know with Capital One, like your first basic credit card, no credit, low credit credit card, you're going to be paying about 24.99% interest on the card. Now, if you're smart, you'll be able to pay off your credit card before it's actually due. That way you can, build your credit without having to pay any interest. That's what I did, right? So I had like $1,000 limit. I would use my credit card, do the things that I needed to do. And before my bill was due, I would have a zero balance, meaning that I was getting all of the cash back. I was getting all of these different things basically for free. So I was being paid. And not only that, they would match your initial deposit. So if you, put your $1,000 in there or whatever, your minimum was, they'll give you another $1,000 after like a year or 9 months or something like that. So the entire time I didn't have a balance, so I didn't pay any interest on the card. So if you're going to go that route to build your credit, that's what I would advise. However, when it came down to the ancestors and sharecropping, the rate started at 50%. So for every $1 worth of equipment, crop, seed, anything like that, you had to pay back $1.50. And they went up to 100% interest, meaning that for every $1 that you borrow of equipment, seed, hands, or whatever, you had to pay back $2. It's an extremely crazy debt system that they had. And so you needed as many people on deck, right? You needed as many people to help you pay back that debt. So that is what incentivized having large families. Not only that, survivability. Infant mortality. We all know that was relatively high for the time. A lot of babies didn't make it through childbirth. A lot of babies didn't make it through infancy and stuff like that. So having as many children as possible was just the better way to go about making sure that your family survived, your last name survived, and you guys were able to survive through whatever you were going through as far as being a sharecropper. And when it comes down to the family reunions and having community and all of these different things, that's where it largely stems from. It's just a bunch of individuals that make an amalgamation of a particular community and they work together. And that's the reason why, like, the last vestiges of these things were seen in our era, the millennials, right? You still had granny on the porch that would look out for you when you was in elementary school and stuff like that. And as we know, the grannies is getting younger or whatever, so the grannies is in the club. You feel me? So it's a little bit different now. Shout out to the grannies that still hold it down and still do their thing. But it was all about being able to fellowship with one another. Church was huge. Church was the center of the black community. In any state, any city, any town, there was going to be a church. And even now, if you go to any particular, black American neighborhood, you're going to find a church. You're going to find several churches. So you had these meetings in the church. You had families coming together and being like, hey, we're going to pool our resources to be able to make sure, little Tommy gets to go to college, or we're going to pool our resources to make sure that we build the gazebo. We're going to pool our resources to make sure that Miss Ethel has her roof fixed and stuff like that. It was group economics was second nature to the ancestors. It only made sense. And for it to go from that to what we have now, that is what the enemy wanted. The enemy wanted your family to be splintered. The enemy wanted you to be scattered across the city and scattered across the states and scattered across the country, because it's easier to rule you. People talk about, like, other cultures talk about how, they allow their children to, stay in their homes up until the time that they get married, just because it doesn't make any sense to pay 5 different rents and all this other stuff. We could just be pooling that money together. And what families in that regard, that type of culture will do, they will buy assets with that pooled income. They will buy life insurance policies. They'll have meetings about how to grow their wealth. They'll start a business, a family business. And so much of what we have been told in the contemporary sense about, like, yo, your first customer is not going to be your family member. Don't count on your friends and family to support you and stuff like that. And it's like, for me, that's never really been my experience. First and foremost, the first real formal job that I had was from a private black American business owner. You feel me? I worked for a black man. As a matter of fact, as I'm living and breathing right now, I can count maybe 3 white bosses that I've had. Most of my bosses were private business owners. Not no franchise or nothing like that. I'm talking about black men who started businesses and built it to the point that they can pay salaries. And that's what I did. Now, because I'm a sales guy and I've always been into sales, they were largely commissioned, but I did have a base salary in a lot of them. Shout out to Hev. He taught me a lot. My most previous employer, my man Larry, shout out to him. Like, these are black men who employed me. I made my first $100,000 working for Larry. You feel me? So it's like, when it comes to like the way people be talking about like corporate microaggressions and shit like that, like I can't relate, because like all of my bosses for the most part have been black American private business owners. Like, that's just what it is. I don't know if I'm lucky in that regard or whatever it is, but it's not like I got some like crazy exponential, education or anything like that. I'm just a dude that's willing to work. You dig? So I sought out these types of jobs. They just so happen to be owned by, grown black men and stuff like that handling business. So group economics was already in there. I worked in a clothing store. So when I got paid, I would buy clothes from Hev. That's just how it worked. Or he would give me a discount on the clothes that I bought from him. You dig what I'm saying? He gave me like this white t-shirt, because this is the white t-shirt era or whatever. So he knew after I closed up, because, by the time I was 15, I famously tell the story all the time, but by the time I was 15, I had the key to the store, and I was opening and closing the store. Open the store at 9 o'clock in the morning and closed it at 10. I tell people all the time, I used to cut school from 8th grade to pretty much my senior year in high school, because I wanted to make money. And at a certain point, I was making more money than a lot of adults in my neighborhood, including some of my teachers. So it's like, what can you teach me? Like, what is algebra going to be able to teach me when I'm actually getting to the mugger, when I'm actually getting to the cash? You feel me? I'm actually getting to the money. So I say all of that to say, it's like, when it comes down to the enemy wants you splintered. The enemy wants you in a low trust state. They don't want you to trust your neighbor. They don't want you to trust your community at all. They want to keep you separate and apart from each other. So when it's time for actually to you to intervene, when they may be in some trouble or anything like that, you're apprehensive to do it because you don't know them. You don't know them. When I moved into the neighborhood that I'm in right now, I made it a point to meet my neighbors because I understood the importance of community. So when it comes down to these solutions, in short, just do the opposite of what the enemy is wanting you to do. Do the opposite of what is being purported to you by the mainstream. They want you dumb. They want you dependent. They want you to become a robot, fam. They want you to become a meat bag that is just reliant on the greater society and the government and all this other stuff. And there are still remnants of the principles of the ancestors. I call it the ancestral Black American ethos, you dig? But these are things that are still happening to this day. People are building family trusts in Black America. People are buying businesses as a family in Black America. People are building wealth as a family, as a community in Black America right now in 2025. So I implore all of you guys who are watching this to think of different strategies and ways to use financial instruments like life insurance policies, asset accumulation or acquisitions and stuff like that to be able to preserve and grow wealth in your household and in the households of the people that you care about. It's not difficult at all, but it is going to require consistent work. It's going to require you to actually pour into these different things. It's going to actually, require for you to be a steward with your money and with your wealth. However, your children, their children, and their children are going to be able to reap the benefits of it. Studies show that 70% of your generational wealth will be squandered by your children, and then 90% when it comes to your grandchildren. That's for the general population, right? That's just the simple American household where you leave a house to your kid, or you may leave like a $500,000 life insurance policy or something like that to them, and by the time those people have kids, or by the time those people's kids grow up, that money is gone. And later on, there's another video that I bookmarked that actually shows, more specifically how we can build wealth inside the family, generational wealth inside the family via life insurance policies and stuff like that. I used to sell life insurance, actually. I didn't renew my license. I should have, though, just to keep that in my back pocket. But, I'm doing pretty well for myself and stuff like that. Had a good morning. As it pertains to the money that I was making and stuff like that. So shout out to me, you feel me? But yes, the things that the enemy wants you to do, just do the opposite. You'll be totally fine. The enemy wants you fat. The enemy wants you dumb. The enemy wants you dependent. The enemy wants to make sure that you need them for everything that you want and need. And the more and more self-sufficient you become, the more and more self-reliant you will become. Not only will you be thwarting your enemy's tactics and strategies against you, you will be making your ancestors proud. You will be upholding what I call, say it with me, the ancestral Black American ethos. And that's what this is all about, ladies and gentlemen. As a Black American traditionalist, I'm all about family. I'm all about group economics. I'm all about coming together for the greater good of not only yourself, but everybody else around you, and not doing harm to one another. And I want to spread that gospel for as long as I'm alive, because that's what the people who care to, have solutions instead of problems, that's what they need to know. That's what they need to hear. And so that's just my little, this is just off of a 1 minute video. No, Bert, I did not retweet it. And you know what? Now that you mention it, Bert, I do have to do better with that. I ain't gonna lie. It's very narcissistic of me to not retweet the things that I see. It is. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm extremely conservative with my likes, and it's not because I don't like the stuff that I see. It's just that I be thinking about this is like an archive of the things, right? And I don't know, I've never really been that liberal with the likes, and I know that's terrible, especially as a content creator, especially as somebody who's going live a lot more and stuff like that. I want you guys to like and subscribe, but at the end of the day, y'all see, outside of me promoting, my Patreon and stuff like that, patreon.com/Hotep history, I don't really be like, yo, make sure you like and subscribe and all this other stuff. And I've been told, especially over the weekend and the past few days, that I need to be a lot more promotional. I do need to be a lot more promotional. I've been getting good advice on that front. It's been very sound advice. Advice that honestly has already had immediate results that I appreciate. So I'm going to be taking heed to that stuff, and I will be retweeting stuff that I like. But as a caveat, or as a compromise, I'm going to more than likely quote tweet it so I can get my bars off too. You dig what I'm saying? And another reason why is because I wanted to save my takes and stuff like that for the live streams, or for my conversations that I have on Spaces or stuff like that. I'm gaining this knowledge and stuff like that to be able to disseminate it, and I'm not trying to be selfish or gatekeep this stuff. So I am going to do a lot more retweeting. You feel me? So let's move on. Yo, streaming be so crazy because it's already an hour in. Well, almost an hour in. I feel like I've only been talking for 10 minutes. That's how talkative I am, son. That's how talkative I am. So next on the docket, okay, fake nurse arrested after treating 4,486 patients, was even promoted for doing a great job. Now, chat, before we get crazy, I understand the importance of permits and licenses and certifications and stuff like that. I do. And let that be clear. However, because of my historical knowledge and how union laws, licensing laws, certification laws and stuff like that were used against Black America, which barred a lot of Black men from getting into the trades, and barred a lot of Black men from being able to build wealth for themselves if they didn't want to pursue higher education. I know how it negatively affected the community, right? And because my laptop is connected to the Ethernet cord, I can actually go and do things now. I'm not forced to stick to one thing. So we can go open up a new tab, and we can go here to my page, because this is the pin thread that I always refer to. Shout out to Walter E. Williams. You know what I'm saying? Extraordinaire. I said extraordinaire first. Economist extraordinaire. Shout out to him. And this thread is about the war on poverty. And this is the reason why I'm extremely distrustful of the government. Just so y'all know, because I study this stuff, y'all, I know what it means when the government gets involved. And I don't trust it. Anytime that the government has come around historically to quote unquote help Black America, it's hurt us. So I'm very distrustful of the government. I'm always going to be distrustful of the government. I'm all for limited government. And so shout out to my you know, my smart conservatives and my smart libertarians got to make the caveat, because conservatives showed their ass on that Amanda Seals thing, and we're going to get into that as well. I don't even have any clips for that. So if somebody wants to tweet me, like reply in the tweet that is promoting this live with a clip from Amanda Seals. It honestly doesn't matter, because every single last one of them clips, the conservatives was just, they were so off their rocker, and I got a whole rant for them conservatives. But I'm still in favor of limited government. You dig what I'm saying? So let's go right to what I was talking about. I do want to get into all of this stuff, but, you know, it's fine. So let's do this.
About $125 a week. Drove a cab back.
Hold on. Before we get into this was made in the 80s. So you got to keep things in historical context, keep things in perspective, okay? This is almost 40 years, maybe already 40 years ago. So let's keep that in mind. But this is the reason why I was saying what I saying when it comes to the nurse.
In 1957 for a while, I made about $125 a week. Drivers in Philly now tell me they make about $250 a week. If they own their own cabs, they can make almost twice as much and be in business for themselves. But what stops them? It's the thousands of federal and state regulations that are imposed on the U.S. economy. In Philly, the number of cab licenses is restricted by law. That makes them scarce and expensive, almost $20,000 apiece at last count. If you can't come up with 20 grand, forget about driving for yourself. In Washington, D.C., you can get a cab license for less than $50. As a result, 90% of the D.C. cabbies own their own cabs, compared to less than 50% in Philly. Fares are lower, the drivers keep more, and of course, more people can get work as drivers.
If a cab driver had to pay $20,000 for a cab here, the poor cab drivers couldn't drive a cab.
There are 10,000 cabs in D.C. Over 70% are owned by blacks. In New York and Philadelphia, blacks own less than 20% of the cabs. Government licensing closes the door to economic opportunity. Nearly 1,000 occupations in the United States exclude people who do not have licenses. Sometimes the licenses cost money. Sometimes they require the applicant to pass complicated tests that have little to do with the job. Sometimes getting a license requires a friend in the business. All those licensing laws do just one thing: keep outsiders out. Those outsiders are often members of minority groups.
Back during the 30s and 40s, there were practices that were rampant in the South, particularly in the former slaveholding states, where blacks were specifically excluded by predominantly white unions. Example, electricians' unions, plumbers' unions, railroad firemen unions, and at that time, the records of history will demonstrate that it was the purpose of white unions to exclude blacks, minorities in general, from the workplace.
So, I tell y'all, if y'all, what's the word, Rashad? What's the word? Welcome. So I tell y'all, when it comes to the union laws and the unions and licensing laws, they were specifically made to keep black American men out of the workforce. Again, they did not want to go. These are the guys who chose to, like, instead of being a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that in a professional class, they wanted to be in the industrial class. They wanted to be able to have a trade for themselves. So now, as you can see, the laws, the unions themselves were created. Like their mission statements were to bar black men out of them, to keep them out of the workforce. Why is that, you may ask me, chat? It's because black Americans, specifically black American men, were the face of all of this work. Plumbing, electricians, welders, all of these guys, they were the face of it. I speak about this often. When it comes down to the plantation, right? Who do you think built them big ass houses on the plantation? When it comes to those clothes, the fancy clothes that the slave owners would wear, who do you think sold those clothes? We already know who grew their food, but who do you think allowed to create the environment, the 5-star treatment that they had? All of these different fanciful places and clothes and foods and all these different things that they were operating under, who do you think were the artisans behind it? Who do you think were the people that were actually making this happen? It was black men and women, chat. It was the ancestors. So these skills are coming honest. There was no license, okay, to build the big house. That big mansion that you see in all these old slave movies or old pictures and videos and stuff like that, they were built by the ancestors, and none of them needed a license. None of them needed a permit. None of them needed a union or none of that stuff as far as the skills. I'm not sitting here saying that slavery was good. Please don't misunderstand me. Don't annoy me, okay? But like when it comes to this stuff, yo, the ancestors didn't need classes because they learned by doing. They just learned on the job. If you go to any one of the episodes of Hotep History, like the actual series, not Hotep History Live, but in the series that I had, when you start looking at the way children were raised, we talked about having all of these kids, right? The children, specifically the boys, right, didn't go to school all year round. You know why? Because they had to work. And in order for them to work, they had to learn how to do this stuff. So you would be 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. I'm not talking about during slavery. I'm talking about during, Reconstruction, post Civil War, right? You had an 8-year-old that was pushing, 12-hour days. I remember I was reading the autobiography of one of the ancestors, and he was driving cabs at 10 years old. Like, this is the type of work. So we talking about, cabs in Philly versus Washington, D.C. and the licensing and the permit laws and stuff like that. There were 10-year-olds driving cabs in the late 19th century. Now, would I advise that today? You thought I was going to say no. But, I mean, with the proper training, like, I ain't going to hold you, chat. Like, if son knows how to drive the cab, son, let him drive the cab. If he can see over the dash, if he's knowing how to steer, he knows his way around the city. Hey, man, get that little nigga a job, man. Listen, I caught my first job at 8 years old playing drums in the church. And then I was 13 years old when I was working for Hev. I was 15 years old opening and closing the store. Sorry, man. Like, I know that sounds crazy and it's backwards, but if that little boy has a skill that he's able to make money from 10 years old to 20 years old, you know that the type of head start son has over the average person in the job force, in the workplace, like, it's incredible. Now, of course, the children need education. They need to learn how to read, write, arithmetic, all of that stuff. It's very, very true. However, these skills are going to actually make you bread. Now, I know Rashad is in, he in the chat, and I know he's going to call me crazy, but no, I'm not all the way against it. Y'all going to call me like I told y'all Rashad was going to be on it. But I'm not. Yes, they need to get their education, but yo, at the end of the day, yo, how much of what you did in school do you actually remember? Like all K through 12, how much did you remember? See, I had a jump start on niggas, you feel me? I was 13 years old making money via commission. I had managerial skills at 15 years old where I'm literally doing inventory, learning bookkeeping, learning, accounting and all this stuff at 15. I was opening a store at 9 o'clock in the morning. I had tea instead of coffee, you feel me? But yeah, and I closed the store. I'm closing the gate, opening the gate, you feel me? Every day. Monday through Sunday. Like I'm not bragging, but I didn't go to school, chat. And do I look like I didn't go to school? Do I sound like I didn't go to school? Well, sometimes I be sounding like I didn't go to school. I ain't gonna hold you. But for the most part, I'm a well-rounded adult. I'm able to raise my kids. I'm able to, take care of my family and all this other stuff. Like I'm good. You dig? And so many of the ancestors, particularly the boys, didn't really have a formal education like that. They learned how to read, write, do math. That's what they did, and then they got skills young. So while we have all of this technology, while we have all of this going on, you feel me? Yes, please get your education, kids. Get your education. But the education that the ancestors were getting were education in life skills. We was just talking to King Randall and how he was telling us how the boys that he teach, they learn how to change oil. They learn how to cut their own hair. They learn how to paint houses. They learned how to handle firearms. They learned all of these real life skills at a very young age. He first started 11 years old to 17 years old, but then he brought it back because the little brothers of the students were coming to the school. He had a grandfather clause. So if your big brother was in the school, you could go to the school as well. And so you got a bunch of 8-year-olds now learning carpentry. You have a bunch of 8-year-olds now learning how to properly clear a firearm. You have 8-year-olds learning how to change oil. These are life skills that you need. So by the time he's 16, 15, 17 years old, he got a decade into taking care of his own car by the time he gets his first car. If it was ever an emergency, he can drive his mom, drive his parent or whatever to the hospital or whatever. I remember my cousin Jason. Shout out to my big cousin Jason. And if you've ever grew up in a church like I did, you lived up north, you went down south for church conventions every summer. And my cousin Jason was driving his mother from New York, from Brooklyn to North Carolina since he was 14 years old. You feel me? Going down I-95 since a child, basically. So it's, again, he's not dead. Nobody crashed or anything like that. You feel me? So he was able to gain these skills because they treated him like somebody who could hone these skills. And that's what the ancestors was on when it came down to their sons and daughters. When it came down to their daughters, they wanted their daughters to stay in school a little bit longer and stuff like that. But they also had skills, dressmaking, cooking. I'm talking about like real like cuisine and cooking and making sure that you can, really take care of yourself, learning how to grow foods. There are so many different skills that boys and girls were acquiring and honing in on during the late 19th century, early 20th century, that right now the average 25-year-old don't know. Do y'all know any 25-year-old women that know how to make dresses? I'm talking about the average, not the one who specifically is a dressmaker. But little girls, period, knew how to make dresses. That was just a skill that they had. Before they were even thinking about selling it, you feel me? They just knew how to make their own dresses out of materials. Same thing with the little boys. They're able to build things. Do you know how impressive it is for an 11-year-old to be able to build you a porch? Like, that's incredible. You want to pay him even more just because of how young he is. But this was the norm with the ancestors, bro. Like, this is what they were on, fam. So you go from that to where the children are gaining, life skills that they're going to actually be able to use all throughout their lives, to now where like I talk about all the time, like, out of all of the tradesmen in the United States, only 6% of them are black, despite the history of trades in this country being predominantly black for hundreds of years. So when it comes down to poor whites in the South during this time, during Reconstruction and stuff like that, they didn't have these skills. Definitely not the planter class. The children of the planter class never had to work. Booker T. Washington talks about this all of the time. All of the time. When he was a little boy, because he was born into slavery, when he was a little boy, he saw all of the little white boys on the plantation never having to work. They ran around, played marbles, played with their toys, was able to drink lemonade in the hot sun, all of that shit. Not to mention they had free reign on the little black boys. They can bully them, punch them, all of this other stuff. Them little boys grew up to be nothing. Nothing. They grew up to be ain't shit people because they never gained any skills. They barely went to school because they lived in the laps of luxury, because they were weighted on hand and foot. So they never had to gain any of these skills, chat. And so, again, when we're talking about producers versus consumers, who would you rather be? Would you rather be the little boy who has all of these skills under his belt, you feel me, and has the ability to feed himself, clothe himself, shelter himself, protect himself, okay? Or be the kid who didn't have to work for anything, and once the provisions are gone, you don't know how to provide for yourself? So we talking about real deal skills here, right? So going from that to this is the reason why. Let's finish the video.
In fact, there were statements specifically made in connection with occupational licensing regulations that if this law is successful, it will have the effect of reducing to a minimum the involvement of blacks, or Negroes as they were called then, in the workplace.
This is the Mount Zion United Methodist Church in Washington, D.C. Back in 1880, when Washington was still a segregated city, this beautiful building was built by black artisans, black plumbers, carpenters, and masons.
Look at this building. These niggas didn't have no licenses, bro. Look at the building behind him. Look at that beautiful ass church behind him, fam. Not a permit in sight. Not a union in sight. Not a license in sight. Just pure talent. Just pure craftsmanship. Plumber, like the entire, not just the outside, but the insides too. The plumbing, all of that. Now, if you've been to a black church, particularly in the South, y'all know if they had them water fountains in there, that was going to be the coldest, most crispest water you will ever drink in your life, son. I'll never forget it, son. I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, son. Hot as hell, son. It's got to be 1999 or something like that. Not even 2000 yet, chat. Not even 2000 yet. It's hot as hell. It's got to be, at the very least, 213 degrees outside. At the very least, about 300 degrees outside. I'm talking about on the low end, 300 degrees, okay? Extremely hot. It was hell outside. Preaching heaven on the inside, but hell on the outside, son. And I went inside this church, son, and they had that tall, you know what I'm saying, water fountain. I put my thumb on the motherfucking button, son, and I put my lips to the fucking water, chat. This water, I met Jesus just by sipping the water. I was saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Ghost just by drinking that cold, crisp water, chat. That was black people that did that. That's black plumbing. That's black American plumbing right there, son. I ain't never drink. I'm dead ass. I'm chasing that high. Still, to this day, I have yet to have a beverage as refreshing as that water, son. I'm so dead ass right now. I'm being extremely serious right now. I have yet to find a source of water that tasted as good as in crisp, okay, as that water that I had in Greensboro, North Carolina in 1999, son. I'm telling you, I've been chasing that high ever since, son. I'm 35. That happened when I was 9 years old, B. I'm telling you. And that church was built by the ancestors, fam. But let's finish this video.
And mind you, all working under black supervision. So are many other important public buildings in this city and in cities throughout the South. Today, that sounds remarkable. Even now, black people have a hard time breaking into the skilled construction trades. The fact is, in the late 1800s, black people were better represented in many of the skilled trades than they are today. Today, such blatant racism is illegal, and many union leaders would like to see more black workers in union jobs. But again, good intentions don't always produce good results.
The effect.
That's a fact. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to know the title of this, you go watch it on YouTube. It's called Good Intentions. That's what the documentary is about. It's basically about, like I said, the war on poverty and how the government was good intended when they made the decision to usher in all of these different laws and stuff like that. And it really is just the baby of like the FDR administration with the New Deal. You know, we're pushing all of these green initiatives and we're helping the poor and all this other stuff because it's coming, fresh off the Great Depression and all of that. So, yeah. So back to the, what I was talking about. Listen, sometimes licenses are necessary. However, when you make them arbitrary, where you're calling for tests, right? You're calling for tests that are not going to really show that you're actually skilled, right? It's just showing that you will know how to take a test. So I really didn't know I bookmarked this much stuff for today, but it's all good. Where we at? So yeah. So that's why, which brings us to this lady. Okay. She looks like, this is her mugshot. She treated almost 5,000 patients, fam. Almost 4,500 patients. Was even promoted for doing a good job, Rashad. Was even promoted for doing a good job. Okay? And she got fired and arrested. And you know what I think, chat? You know what I think? The hating ass coworker. That hating ass coworker. She was going up for that promotion. Okay? They were both neck and neck for the promotion. I'm not even going to sit here and say the other nurse was a shitty nurse. She felt like she deserved it too. You feel me? But this woman is cooking shit. She's cooking. All of the patients love her. You feel me? She's coming to work on time. Got promoted she got the promotion. And that other nurse was like, yo, where'd you get your nursing degree again? Like, where'd you get your nursing certification and all that from? And she started stuttering, like, and she was like, oh, bitch, you not a registered nurse. You not a RN. You not official. And she went over to the head nurse or whoever the managerial position is in this hospital or in this doctor's office, and squealed, son. Snitched on her right then and there. Got her up out of there. Yo. Hating ass coworker. You feel me? Hating ass coworker. So I say all of that to say is like, yo, listen, man. Sometimes the permits ain't necessary. A lot of the times it's arbitrary as hell. You feel me? Arbitrary as hell. Bert says, hold on, let's check the chat. Let's see. Rashad says, nah, we gotta bring the 10-year-old cab driver to the space. Grad school is to spark interest though. Yeah, for sure. Vincent says, college can't teach you how to turn $1 into $2. Listen, word to Prop Joe. You feel me? Stayed out the way. Bought for $1, sold for $2. Shout out to Prop Joe. That's a fact. Yeah, we met Jesus. That water was holy. That was holy water. Shout out to Crystal. That was holy water. You feel me? Bert says, takes longer to become a barber than police. Ain't that a bitch? We got a bunch of unstable, mentally disabled men and women on the force, but you got to have a doctorate dissertation to give a temp fade. Come on now. Yes, Rashad, nasty individual. That nurse was hating. She was hating. Come on now. There ain't no way you treating 4,500 patients, ain't nothing come down the pike about nothing negative about you, and you just out of nowhere get arrested. You just got promoted. No way. 4,500 patients, that's years of work. Years of work, son. Insane. So we're moving on. I'm just letting y'all know, son. Get your skills and all of that other stuff is important, but you know, they want to hit you with the permit. They want to hit you with arbitrary tests and shit like that. You feel me? They want to give you a pseudo IQ test to be able to, you know, give a temp fade, to be able to draw some blood, son. Like, come on, give me a break. People need jobs out here. Oh yeah. Chat, listen. Yo, listen. This pissed me off because this encapsulates exactly, and we're gonna get into another example of this, but this encapsulates exactly why I hate mainstream history, yo. This shows exactly why I hate mainstream history. Are y'all reading this? Nell Carter. This is how they eulogize this woman. Okay? This is how this person let's blow it up because they watermarked it. They proud of this bullshit. They watermarked it. So this company is called Black Gains. Okay, whatever content space or whatever page or whatever it is, they proud of this. They created this. Nell Carter raped at 16, had a baby at 17, but still made history with her songs "Give Me a Break" and "Give Me a Break" and then Mr. Cooper, right? Son, this is exactly what I be talking about. This is how they treat the ancestors. This is exactly how they treat the ancestors. They focus so much on the hell that they went through. They focus on so much on the oppression, discrimination, the racism, whatever it is. You feel me? And then as a byword, in the fine print, oh yeah, they also, went on to become a millionaire, do great things, and yada yada yada. They yada 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 all your greatness, but they gonna put all of the hell that you went through on Front Street. They gonna put that in the marquee. You feel me? That's what they do. And this is why we need to tell our own stories. I don't believe Black Games is really Black owned. I think that's some bullshit. I don't believe that these people are actually Black American. I really don't. I believe these are a bunch of Indians or because Indians is running quote unquote Black media. All of them pages, Rap House TV and all that shit. I think the only one that I know for sure is Black owned is Say Cheese. But all of them other ones, I don't know if what's the one? Daily, whatever it is, all of them different pages and shit like that, they all run by Indians, G. They all run by Indians, but this is what they do, son. Look how they encapsulated her life. Look how they eulogized this woman. Just look at the word count. Look at the word count. You got her name, her being raped as a child, her having a baby as a child, and then at the end they still did this. First and foremost, like when y'all know about ingredients, right? When you talking about like food or even like shit, your toothpaste and shit like that. Ingredients, the ingredients list, the nutritional facts and all other stuff. When they give you the ingredients list, the first ingredient that's listed is the most predominant ingredient on the list. That's why it's first. That's the first and foremost ingredient because that's going to be the largest amount per capita as far as the liquid or substance or whatever it is that's in it or the foods, whatever it is. And this is what they do. This is how they grab the attention of the viewer. Yo, did you know that this woman, you dig what I'm saying, was raped as a child? Like that's what they led with. And this is how they treat the ancestors. This is why Hotep history exists. So we can stop doing this bullshit. Okay? Because nobody really gives a fuck about the ancestors for real. Because if you did, you wouldn't highlight this shit like that. You can talk about it. I'm never going to sit and act like you need to lie about somebody's story or anything like that. Even when it comes to me, son, I'm never going to act like there wasn't gruesome brutality on the plantation. There were entire breeding plantations where they forced the ancestors to literally engage in incest to be able to make as many slaves as possible. Gruesome shit went down. But you know what's going to happen before I tell you that? I'm going to tell you about how they were artisans and they literally built this country and give you actual examples on these things. That, yeah, there's not one of them big houses that you see on the plantation that wasn't built by a Black American. That's what I'm going to let y'all know about slavery first. Not to act like the brutality didn't happen, but you need to know what your ancestors were actually doing. And I say this all of the time. When it comes to mainstream history, they don't tell your ancestors' story from their perspective. They tell the story from the oppressor or the outsider's perspective. I call it like, yo, they wrote these stories down. You feel me? They wrote these stories down from the porch of the big house. Me, I'm reporting these stories from the field. You feel me? I'm reporting these stories from the POV of the ancestors. I want y'all to know that's why I talk about primary sources so much. Don't go through another source to get to the ancestors. I do my best to be a very fluent conduit between you and the ancestors, but I always cite my sources because you won't ever have to take my word for it. I don't want you to be totally honest. I don't want to be the only person giving you this history. As a matter of fact, I encourage you all, yo, Go to the Library of Congress. Go through the archives. Just as a side note, right here. I was just reading this. Well, I've been reading this book, but hold on. Let me restart it again. Right here, Aristocrats of Color. Now this is a secondary source, but if you go to the bibliography of this book, they're going to give you primary sources. They're going to give you primary sources. Learn from the ancestors themselves. Did you know there was a bunch of rich niggas in this country for hundreds of years? Did you know that the first black Americans were free in this country? Did you know, you feel me, that there were wealthy black Americans in almost every century in this country? I talk about James Forten all of the time. James Forten helped create Philadelphia as a city. James Forten fought in the Revolutionary War at 14 years old. James Forten was a black man with white employees in the 18th century, son. Do you know about him? You feel me? Did you learn about him? Crispus Attucks shed the first blood for American independence, a black man. Benjamin Banneker designed Washington, D.C. Okay? Benjamin Banneker, a black man, created the first clock in America. A black man did that. Niggas wasn't even telling time before niggas. Onesimus, you know I'm going to bring Onesimus up. Introduced inoculation in Boston in the 1700s, B. If it was not for Onesimus, the entire city would have been of Boston would have been wiped out from smallpox if it wasn't for a black man. And he was a slave. So while I will always say, hey, yo, this shit was terrible, this was wrong, I'm going to show you Onesimus first. I'm going to, even if I'm telling Onesimus' story, I'm going to tell you how amazing this man was while he lived. These crackers, and when I say cracker, that's an actual term. I know a lot of people think I'm just using that as a pejorative, but cracker is the actual term, and we'll get into that in the stream as well. But yeah, I just wanted y'all to know that shit, man. Like, when it comes to this type of stuff, like, please believe, son, they don't have any reverence. Because would you want your life to be eulogized like this? We all had done some fuck shit in our lives. You know, yeah, you know, he was an alcoholic and shit like that. Like, my Uncle Tony, rest in peace. One of his drinking buddies came to his funeral and shit. You feel me? And now he meant well when he said this story, but he was dead ass telling stories about him and my uncle drinking after work and all of that. And we all had to, you know, we laughed and joked and stuff like that. But there was some of the people who was like, yo, nigga, goddamn, you just gonna let people know that my uncle was drinking like that? Like, that's crazy. You feel me? But again, yo, when you talk about everybody else in there that was eulogizing my uncle, they talked about how, you know, diligent he was, how much of his work ethic was high, how good of a father and a husband he was, and all these great things. When it comes down to your eulogy, son, when it comes down to your own legacy, what do you want to be remembered as? You want to be an amalgamation of all the shit that was wrong that happened to you? Do you want to be an amalgamation of all of the hell that you went through? Or do you want to be an amalgamation of everything, the 360 about your life? Like, yeah, he or she went through this. They were born under these circumstances. They were born in these environments. However, you know, they were able to earn this for themselves, build this for themselves. You feel me? I know that's how I want my story to be told. That's why I'm writing my own autobiography, because I don't trust near nigga to write my story for me. And I tell all of y'all all of the time, write your autobiography, son. Start right now. Start right now. Especially for niggas like me, son. My memory is cooked. You feel me? That's why I write things down. That's why I journal. That's why I do all of the stuff that I do, son, because I know, son. I know I got to make sure that I'm good cognitively to be able to keep my mind sharp for the rest of my life. Because if you don't, that's how you get the dementias, your Alzheimer's and all of that shit. Like, yo, write your autobiography. Start this year. Don't wait. Don't wait. You were born in 1990 something, 1980 something, 1970 something. Start writing your goddamn story now. I can't tell you how many random autobiographies I have read. Dr. James Steele, James Fortin, like I was talking about. Yo, all of these different ancestors, son. All of these different ancestors. I just be reading their story. You feel me? They have, let's get into it. I'm flexing my internet connection right now, y'all. I'm not even gonna hold you. If y'all was here for the past streams and all of that stuff, son, you know I couldn't have did all of this fly shit. Shout out to the Ethernet cord. You hear me? Shout out to the Ethernet. I don't even know what the Ethernet is, but shout out to the Ethernet, son. You know what I'm saying? Hotep. That's Hotep. Yo, look at that. That says Hotep, by the way. You feel me? Hotep. Hotep, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. We outside. You feel me? What the hell was I just talking about? See what I was talking about wouldn't come to memory? God damn it. Come on, chat. What was I about to look up? What was I just talking about? Damn it. This is what I be talking about when it comes to the memory. I'll be on a roll and I just be going. I dead forgot what I was about to pull up, son. Well, why y'all trying to help me remember? Let's see. Rashad says dissertation to give a temp fade is crazy. That's a fact, fam. That is insane. Damn, we all forgot. Oh, found it. Yep, there we go. Right here. Read it for yourself, son. No, not this one. This page. Y'all want to know what the ancestors was getting into? Look, it's volumes and volumes of the ancestors. Like literally, we could just click a random one. Y'all crazy. Right here, slave narratives, a folk history of slavery in the United States from interviews with former slaves. Primary sourced. Just read them. It's 358 pages. You bound to find something interesting in here. You can read from the ancestors directly on what it was like being a slave, son. You don't gotta watch movies or no shit like that. That ass. If there was anything to be known, the white folks knowed it. That they, you know, you're gonna get it from them. This is literally interviews of former slaves, fam. You don't gotta make nothing up. They gonna tell you. You know what I mean? So again, son, like, just get your primary sources on. That's it. Get your primary sources on. But let's get to the chat. Let's see. Bert think he about to be the #1 commenter. Not on my watch. Crystal says perpetual victimhood and degradation is all they push. There's no balance to our history. Yes, horrible things happen, but so did a lot of greatness. That's why I appreciate all of the work you put in. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate it. Don't think I don't notice you in my mentions, liking damn near every tweet, checking out my spaces, coming through. I can always count on you. Thank you, Crystal. You always been holding it down when it comes to the Hotep histories. You're true lady and a scholar. Shout out to you. What else we got? Yeah, Cliff, we back, bro. We back. Internet is is back. Yo, Rashad, you are a nasty guy. You're a nasty man. You 240s in? How you 240s? Come on now, beloved. 240s? That's insane. Oh, what happened to the book box? Let's get back to it. We got a lot more to get to. I did not know I had this much on the docket, but we here, man. We flexing the Ethernet cord, son. I'm so happy. Y'all don't understand how embarrassing that was. Could you imagine, son? You ever been in an argument? You ever been like passionately talking about something and then like the phone die or like you get cut off and you can't do shit about it? That was exactly what I was going through, son. I'm on stream. I'm going crazy with my points and all this other stuff. And then they'll be like, oh yeah, stream down. Niggas niggas is hitting me on Twitter like, yo, bro, yeah, your stream is down, bro. And I'd be like, God damn it, like I was getting my shit off. So now we got the Ethernet, son. We got the Ethernet cord, son. 100 feet cord. All right, so yeah, man. Respect the ancestors, man. Stop treating their lives as a trauma dump. As a matter of fact, before I get into the other shit, because I was going to go in order, but there was something that's actually in the vein of this that oh my God, it pissed me off so bad, y'all. Hold on, where is it? Where is it? No, not that. Damn, son. All right, so we're gonna have to freestyle real quick, because I remember it was some dude named Cohen. Hold on, slavery is bad. And every time I tried to bookmark it, it won't. Like, I don't know why I bookmark it, but then it act like they didn't want to have me save it. But it was this dude. So Trump got and see, this is what I'm talking about. Trump got into some hot water because yeah. Is it this one? I know it wasn't this one, but this is one of the same ones. It's in the same vein. So, in the same way that I was just talking about Miss Nell Carter, right? You had a bunch of white people. Trump had posted on his social media site that he's mad at the Smithsonian because the Smithsonian is only highlighting the hell or that the country was. It's only highlighting the negative. You dig what I'm saying? Of our country and stuff like that. And he said in the caption, before we get to that, he said in the caption, I don't know why they won't just let me, because this is not the same thing when it comes down to, I think it's really weird. But Trump basically was like, yo, here it is. It says the museums, blah, 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 blah. The Smithsonian is out of control, where everything discussed is how horrible our country is, how bad slavery was, and how unaccomplished the downtrodden have been. Now, did Trump say, we objective over here, did Trump say that slavery was good or that slavery wasn't bad? No. He said that he was tired of the Smithsonian only highlighting, you feel me, how horrible the country is and how bad slavery was. That's what he said. Now, I'm not sitting here even defending Trump, because that's not really the point. The point is the niggas, or the people, okay, the dirtbags who called themselves trying to dunk on Trump, okay, use the ancestors as fodder, okay? They use the ancestors as fodder. So look at this caption. Breaking. Trump just posted on Truth Social complaining that the Smithsonian is out of control by mentioning how bad slavery was. Take a long, hard look, Donald. Slavery was bad. You think that, who is this dude? Do y'all think Devin fucking Duke gives a fuck about this ancestor? Because if you really wanted to know this story, like of this particular person, you wouldn't even want to know it. Especially for the way that y'all are talking. I did my research on it. It's a very gruesome story. There's like rape allegations and stuff like that, to where even he confessed. Like it's a terrible story. It's a terrible story. But look at these crackers, yo. And I mean crackers, for real, for real. These crackers are literally using the ancestors as props. They're using the brutality of the ancestors as props to dunk on Trump. They don't give a fuck about this ancestor being whipped and being abused. They only care about this right here. Almost 1 million views or impressions, 27,000 likes, almost 9,000 retweets, and 2,000 replies. That's all they gave a fuck. That's why they put the picture up. Because you could have posted a picture of a clothed slave and said the same thing. But no, you wanna horrify. You wanna, use shock and awe to be able to make a point. You feel me? That's all they care about, son. They do not care about the ancestors. And this is exactly what I be talking about when I be talking about mainstream histories. They don't give a fuck about the ancestors, bro. They don't care. You could have used any type of imagery that you wanted to denote slavery and it being bad. But you know what they did? They used the most gruesome pictures and shit like that to be able to make their points. I do not believe Devin Duke gives a fuck about the ancestors. And I know he don't give a fuck about slavery for real, because I know that he is literally, okay, being advantaged or reaping the benefits of slave labor right now today. Right now today. How you think your iPhone got here? How you think that cobalt got mined? Huh? How do you think the things that you put on your feet every day, the clothes that you put on your back every day get made? It's little Asian kids, little African kids under slave labor, okay, making your goods. And I don't hear none of you people talk about that. I don't hear none of you people virtue signal on the behalf of enslaved Asian kids, enslaved African kids right now. As a matter of fact, you'll be the first one to complain about your Starbucks. You'll be the first one to complain when your phone don't update. You'll be the first one to complain on Black Friday. Y'all don't give a fuck about slavery. But when you can show images like this to get your clout up, that's when you want to care. He don't know that man's name. He don't give a fuck to learn that man's name. All he give a fuck about is being able to use this gruesome ass, brutal ass picture to prove a point to dunk on Trump. The goofy shit that I be talking about. And it's the same thing for you niggas that do the same thing to the ancestors. It's even more egregious when you niggas do it. When y'all get to talking to me, when I say beautiful shit like, yo, the ancestors built this and created this, was able to endure and be resilient, be able to persevere through all of the fucked up hell that they went through and still built shit, still created shit. And what you niggas tell me? Oh, we tried that already. They just gonna burn it down. You didn't try shit. You ain't try shit. You ain't build shit. They ain't near Black Town in 2025 that niggas done built that crackers came through and burnt down. Not one. But you get the rest on the laurels of the work of the ancestors and try to tell me why you can't work. When we know for a fact, a Fendi fact, that every last one of the towns that was burnt down, attacked, or any of that was rebuilt in their lifetime. Tulsa happened in 1921. Tulsa was rebuilt completely by 1925. And what you niggas do? You niggas have a bad day and give up. You niggas get fired from your fucking job and give up. You niggas gonna have a modicum of the resilience the ancestors got. And for you niggas in 2025 to be using the ancestors as fodder, my nigga, as an offhand to note why you shouldn't or couldn't or wouldn't be doing some shit, it's pitiful, my nigga. You slapping the ancestors in the face. You niggas is not actually pro-black for real. You not pro-black for real. Y'all some of the most white supremacist ass niggas that I've ever seen in my life, son. The ancestors went out of their motherfucking way to be resilient. They threw a parade in 1925. They told the Tulsa Star, no, was the Tulsa Star the white one or the black one? Regardless, they told the newspapers, we're indestructible. That's what they said in 1925, 4 years after. Y'all do shit like call it a massacre, and none of the ancestors called it that. If you must know, if you want to know, okay, the real story, I'm going to tell y'all the story. I don't know if I told y'all this story already. If I did, just going to listen to the shit again. Check this out. This is how the Tulsa riot started, okay? There was a young man, 19-year-old man by the name of Dick Rowland. The police, for some reason, call him Diamond Dick. I don't know why, pause, whatever. Rowland, because I'm going to call him Rowland, goes into the Drexel building, okay? Inside the Drexel building was this elevator girl. She was an elevator operator. Her name is Sarah Page. I think she was about 14 years old, something like that. While Rowland is walking into the Drexel building, he trips and he falls. And to break his fall, he grabs the wrist, which basically was her shirt, of Sarah and fell And because he's, 19 years old, black man, you feel me? Probably rips her shirt a little bit, falls on the ground. She has a rip in her shirt. She runs out of the Drexel building screaming. The manager of the Drexel building calls the police. From the time the police were called to the time Roland was arrested, the white Tulsa newspaper had wrote that Roland tried to rape Sarah. He tried to ravish her, or whatever the terminology that they use, right? So the word gets around town, right? Roland is in the courthouse, not jail. Not jail. He's in the courthouse. There could have been a courthouse jail, but whatever. He's in the courthouse jail or in the courthouse. A mob of white men with guns come to go kill Roland. And that's something that happened all of the time. Black dude gets arrested or charged with a crime, and here comes the lynch mob. Crackers. We'll get into the definition of cracker in just a second. Crackers, a group of crackers come, you feel me, with guns. The black people in the town see this shit. They tell the men immediately. So now we got a band of armed black men coming. And now we had a face-off. It's a face-off happening. All right? They face off. 10 white men get killed. I think only one black dude gets killed. 10 white men get killed, expired, unalived, whatever. Because they suffered such defeat in defense or in trying to attack Roland and losing, they come back in larger numbers. Okay? They come back in larger numbers. And that is what started the riot. And the entire time, I can tell you for a fact, there was primary source testimonies of what happened on the ground from May 30th to June 1st of 1921. And I'm telling you, black men and black boys were shooting it out with these domestic terrorists. Okay? For 2 days. Day and a half, or however long. Shooting it out. You got people carrying grannies. You feel me? You got people carrying grannies to one house to the other. Buildings. So the way it worked, there was two groups. You had the basically like the state troopers and then the local police. Okay? So the state troopers, they were the ones who was like, yo, listen, we're all getting you guys out of this spot right here, and then being able to, relocate them to a safer place. And then you had the local police who were using these evacuations to loot shit, to take guns away. That's what was happening. It was trying to unarm or disarm the men in the community, the women too, but primarily the men. So while the state troopers, whatever, I think it was like the red something. It was red something. I can look up the primary source because we got the Ethernet cord. But so you got the state troopers pretty much being like, yo, listen, we're going to bring you to this hill. It's like just outside of town. Keep you guys safe. And then you had another group who was, masquerading as that. They were, officials or whatever. They were actually law enforcement or whatnot. But they were going into the cribs and looting them, taking the gold, taking the diamonds, taking the firearms. Shit, there's testimony in the book that they was taking clothes like pantyhose and shit. They was taking slips. They was just robbing and stealing. They used the chaos, okay, to be able to rob and pillage and steal from the ancestors. And all while this is happening, black men and black boys are on the front line shooting the fuck out of the enemy. But what you get told is that they were all massacred. Yo, men were standing up for the community. Men and boys. Imagine you side by side with your pops. You 12 years old, 11 years old. He hands you the rifle like, yo, we have to protect our town. We have to protect our neighborhood. That's what actually was going down. It wasn't some fucking slaughter. This shit started with 10 white bodies. It started with that. One black one, one black saved body, because he's still in the courthouse this entire time. I hope y'all know that. Nothing happened to Roland. As a matter of fact, Sarah comes out and said that, yo, he didn't rape me. The police that arrested him said, yo, I don't believe you raped her, but we got some ornery crackers here and we got to deal with them. That's what happened. So for 2 days, a bunch of black men and boys were shooting it out with a bunch of white men and boys. And they had, the white men and boys had help from law enforcement. And that has been summed up into a massacre when they underreported the white bodies out of embarrassment, something that they did all of the time. All of the time. So again, yo, when y'all get to talking to me about the ancestors and shit, make sure that you come in fucking correct. Making sure that you put respect on a body when you talk to me about the ancestors, because y'all motherfuckers be rattling off a bunch of talking points that you more than likely got from a cracker. That you more than likely got from somebody that's not even black American. But y'all niggas get to talk to me about the ancestors. Y'all niggas get to talk to me about what's possible and what's not possible. You out of your motherfucking mind talking to me like that. I got fucking watermelon growing in my front fucking yard, nigga. Don't tell me what's possible. And I grew that shit on accident. Nigga was literally sitting outside on the porch spitting watermelon seeds, son, into my front yard. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to, like, they're not going to fruit because it's already chilly out this motherfucker. But yeah, son, like, don't get to talking to me about the ancestors and talking to me about them like they were some defenseless victims. They never were. Never. At no interval in black American history were the ancestors just lying down and taking anything, nigga, ever. Ever, nigga. Go watch episode 1 of Hotep history, slave revolts, and learn how they was smoking shit. Go watch episode 3 of Hotep history when I can show you that the ancestors were literally putting belt to ass Civil War veterans getting in the shootouts with the KKK. They don't teach you that shit, though. Wonder why. They don't teach you that shit because if they did, you'd be sounding like me. And imagine if it was 50 million of niggas like who thought like me as it pertains to the ancestors and what the fuck we would get done. They want you to pity your ancestors. They want you to feel sorry for them. We just saw a video of a church that was built decades before the film was made, still standing. And the ancestors built it. But they're going to keep hitting you with the same stories. Political activists. That's their bread and butter when it comes to mainstream black American history. Your Rosa Parkses, your Malcolm X's, your Martin Luther Kings, you feel me? Your John Lewis's. They're going to hit you with the activists and shit like that because that's the end all be all to black American history, to the mainstream, because that's what, again, if you understand narrative and framing, you framing that entire history around white people. I want y'all to ask yourselves, what's the civil rights movement without white people in their opposition? All of the stories that I be telling about the ancestors ain't got shit to do with white people. You can't tell the civil rights movement story. You can't tell me about the Montgomery bus boycott without including white people, because the racism is the whole reason why this shit is happening, right? But when it comes down to actually building institutions, it ain't. Nah, Langston University, I can show y'all a clip of them building Langston University. Ain't a cracker in sight. Just a bunch of black men who built a black town and wanted to build a higher education institution inside of that black town, son. That's it. That's it. Look up Cowaliga, Alabama. Look up Cowaliga, Alabama. J.J. Benson. Look what he built. That nigga had white taxpayers paying him taxes. He had white employees. Cowaliga, Alabama was built on the old plantation that J.J. was a slave on. He bought his own plantation back. He bought the plantation that he was a slave on and built a town on that motherfucker. But if I leave it up to the mainstream niggas, they only gonna tell me that JJ was a slave. They don't give a fuck that he bought the fucking plantation and built a black town on it and had white employees. They ain't gonna tell you that Samuel B. Fuller had over 5,000 employees across the motherfucking nation, a quarter of them being white, sustaining the livelihoods of white men who understood that they boss was black. But y'all be sitting here telling me all of this bullshit, my nigga. Nah, son. Racism absolutely exists. It ain't going nowhere. Ever. You can't beat racism, dog. I done said cracker 100 times in here. And I'm never gonna stop. Never gonna stop. Because crackers exist. I told y'all that story. You feel me? But it bears repeating. Because I'm sick and tired of no pride being instilled in the babies when they telling these stories. They want this. This is what they want you to always remember. This is what they want you to look like. This is what they want you as. This shit ain't got shit to do with that man. His own picture is not even used for him. They don't give a fuck about this part of him right here. They don't give a fuck about this part of him, this part of him, the legs, nothing. They only give a fuck about this. And who did this? That's white history. And look who posted it. Some random cracker named Devin Duke. Devin Duke don't give a fuck about that man. And that's what I be talking about, son. You're not going to keep disrespecting the ancestors around me. It's real history over here, nigga. This is Hotep history. It's not that bullshit you learned. This not McGraw-Hill over here. I don't go for it. We can talk about the brutality of slavery. We can do that. But we're not going to sit here and discount the motherfucking ancestors. That's what y'all do. Every single time that y'all center the oppression of your ancestors, you're centering the white people in those stories. You've essentially made your ancestors the side characters in their own motherfucking story. And if I centered your boss that you hate, if I centered the ex that you hate, if I centered the motherfuckers that hated you, your ops in your street, and your neighbor, if I centered them and asked them niggas about you, how the fuck would your story sound? They're gonna tell me all of the stories where they packed your ass out. They ain't gonna tell me none of the times you packed them up. They're not gonna tell me any of the times that you got to the bag. Nah, we used to fuck son up. We used to whoop his ass all of the time. It was a shame. It wasn't until the government came through to where he can actually even have a formidable fight against us. That's not the fucking truth. That's not the truth. And y'all be lying on the ancestors because y'all got lied to about them, because y'all don't seek primary sources. You don't get this confident in the ancestors without listening to them. They talk to me directly. When I open up the preface of a book and they say, "Dear reader," they talking to me. They talking to you if you would read it. I go this hard for the ancestors because nobody else be advocating for them the way I do. Y'all sitting there frothing at the motherfucking mouth at Trump about the museums only highlighting how bad slavery was, and y'all sitting there calling him a white supremacist. When this is real white supremacy, when motherfuckers get to go viral off the brutality of your ancestors, nigga, that's motherfucking white supremacy. That's the real enemy. You got this fat orange cracker in the White House being like, "Yo, dog, I don't want to go too hard. I don't want to keep focusing on what was fucked up about slavery." And y'all clutching your motherfucking pearls, but this shit is okay. Y'all cool with this shit, though. The only reason why all of this shit was even on Front Street in the first fucking place was to talk about how gruesome slavery was to end the shit. It's ended. And then we got hundreds of years of black American progress. I tell niggas all of the time, from 1865 to 1965, you can't find a human demographic on earth that had a better run than black America. On earth. And here you niggas is sitting there telling me about motherfucking oppression, son. The ancestors who went through this shit didn't talk about it this motherfucking much, man. They didn't ignore it. They didn't act like it didn't exist. They fought against it and defended themselves from it. That's what they did. And what's the fucking thanks they get? Killing and dying for you motherfuckers to sit up in your motherfucking crib on your motherfucking phone made by slave labor that you have no fucking quarrels about. You ain't got no motherfucking problem that your iPhone, whatever, was created by a motherfucking Chinese slave or African slave mining the shit. You don't give a fuck. Keep it all the way tall. Keep it all the way to all the ancestors killed and died for this shit, and you niggas get to use them as fodder, as props. Nah, son. No, we not doing that here. We not doing that here. If you really give a fuck about the ancestors, you would actually take the fucking time out to listen to them. You would actually take the time out to look at all of the things that they actually wanted to be remembered for. The people that went through that shit in 1921 wanted you to know that that shit happened, but also wanted you to know that they fought back, that they shot back, and they underreported the white deaths. That's what they wanted you to know. And that's why I don't believe in hidden history, nigga. It's not hidden if I know about it. It's not hidden if they wrote the shit down and you can find it. Stop disrespecting the ancestors. You niggas are not allowed to be around me if you disrespecting the ancestors. I don't give a fuck who you are. And that goes for all of you mainstream historians too. All of you. If your platform as a historian is to keep highlighting this shit and you don't show nothing that the ancestors built, you an op, nigga. You a self-serving op. You don't give a fuck about the ancestors. Not a single fuck about them. And that's how I'm rocking. That's how I'm carrying it. That's how I've been carrying it. That's why that's the reason why Hotep history exists, beloved. So we can counteract these fucking these narratives to keep demoralizing the babies. Niggas is growing up believing, yo, I can't do it. I can't do it. And the ancestors did 10 times more with 100 times less. Niggas have supercomputers. These are fucking supercomputers, my nigga. Supercomputers in your motherfucking pocket. Computing power that is almost fucking unbelievable 70 years ago, let alone 100. And you gonna tell me what you can't do? You niggas is out of your motherfucking mind, man. I had to go on that rant, y'all. That shit, yo, son, I can't stand that shit, dog. I can't stand that shit. I don't believe these people give a fuck about their ancestors, and I know they don't. I know they don't. All right. So let's get back to it. let's get back to it. Sorry, y'all. For the ones who been rocking with me and shit like that, you know, I appreciate y'all for holding me down. Shit, we got a lot. I don't think we're gonna get to all of this stuff. So yeah, this shit right here, man. Let's get into this shit.
I'll be honest, I don't have very many white friends because a lot of white people don't understand that being friends with black people is not just like being friends with a white person. There's so much that goes into being friends with a black person because you have to do all this extra work, which a lot of you are not ready for, to be a safe haven for us, to be a accomplice to us. When you are friends with black people, you have to think about their safety at all times. Is doing this activity going to put my black friend at risk? So, no, I don't have very many white friends because I don't trust y'all. Y'all have given me zero reason to trust.
I'm not finishing this shit. I'm not. But this is exactly what I be talking about, son. A safe haven? You know what this nigga reminds me of? I talked about this before. During Trump and Hillary, right? That campaign, you feel me? Black Lives Matter organizers came to Hillary at one of her rallies. They were like backstage or some shit like that. And this nigga walked up to her and was like, yeah, we're trying to change white hearts. Change white hearts? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Change white hearts. That's like that. I'm sorry, I'm from the 90s. That's gay. That's gay. I'm not going for that. I ain't give a fuck about changing no motherfucking white hearts, nigga. We trying to get paid. We trying to boost the black American economy, nigga. We trying to get the pigs off our back. We trying to, like, we got shit that we build in here, nigga. We not worrying about interpersonal relationships with motherfuckers who don't want to associate with us. You think I'm trying to change the heart of a white racist nigga? You think I care about that shit? No. No, I do not. I never will. Yo, son, I be trying to tell y'all, son. Y'all be holding these white people to a higher standard than your own. And I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate it. Because for me, and all people who operate under common sense, when you hold up a different group higher to a higher standard than your own, you are automatically letting me know and telegraphing to the world that you think less of yourself by virtue, nigga. By virtue of you having dark skin, you are inherently inferior to the other groups. And that's why y'all need to be a safe haven for us. We need to change white hearts. You think the ancestors gave a fuck about changing white hearts? No. You change white hearts when you revolt, nigga, against tyranny. You change white hearts when you don't give a fuck and you build your own towns. You change white hearts. Like that's when you do it. When you become completely self-sufficient, and then you got old slave owners writing letters begging their former slaves to come back to the plantation because the motherfucker can't feed himself without you. That's how you do it, nigga. Boley, Oklahoma. I'm telling y'all, go watch Hotep. Go watch all of them shits. Make sure you subscribe to the motherfucking Patreon. Patreon.com/Hotep History. Somebody, but do me a favor in the chat. Type it into the chat so it's easily clickable and all that. You feel me? But yeah, watch all of the episodes and actually learn what the ancestors was talking about. Because when you look at episode 2, you know what they say? He was like, "Yo, son, in Boley, Oklahoma, we don't deal with that type of that bullshit nonsense that other people may deal with. Now they come to Boley on square business because they know we don't need them for anything. We're not having our hand out to the white man at all. And they respect us. Booker T. Washington talked about this shit all of the time. Y'all niggas call him a coon. Not y'all niggas, but these niggas be calling him a coon. But he the one that had the blueprint. He the one that had the blueprint. Like, at the end of the day, he knew that y'all was eventually going to start fucking on white women for real, for real. He knew that y'all was going to be fucking on white men for real, for real. He knew that y'all was going to be having a bunch of biracial kids. He knew. You feel me? He knew. He knew that, yo, y'all are going to eventually integrate. Y'all are. Y'all going to eventually integrate. Now, I don't think he foresaw, 1954 with Brown versus Board, 1964 with the Civil Rights Act, 1965 with the Voting Rights Act. I don't know about that. Son wasn't really that political for real. He was an apolitical nigga. And shout out to most, not going to say most. Is it most? Do most black Americans not vote? I know it's a very large population. I think we may be the largest, as far as per capita or whatever, non-voting demographic. A lot of black men don't be participating. I know I haven't participated in a national election since Obama. So I know the narrative is that I voted for Trump and shit like that, which is cool because I was definitely cutting the motherfucking rug in the White House during his administration. Don't regret it. Would do it again. 10 out of 10 experience. You feel me? I should have. Damn, son. I should have asked Maj about the time we was followed by the feds and they tried to honeypot my nigga. They tried to honeypot him, son. They sent the big butt Latina to try to honeypot, son. So all throughout the time we was in D.C., son, the feds was following us. Every time I would spark a spliff, I would look to my left or I look to my right, and there's a bald white nigga with an earpiece in his ear about 50 feet away. Always kept his distance between 50 and 100 feet, right? So it was one time we was coming out of one of the events in D.C., right? And I think it was right after Maj did his speech or did his event, right? And this big butt Latina kept following us, son. Everywhere we went, we was in the lobby of the hotel. She was standing there. She was just like 10 feet away. Like she was always like 2 arms lengths away from us. You feel me? And I'm like, yo, son, like, who is this? So Maj is like, yo, son, she kind of been on a nigga since last night. So I'm like, yo, what? Like, you ain't talk to her? He was like, hell no, I ain't talking to her. Because anytime I look around her, it's a bald white nigga with an earpiece. Not too far away from her. So we leave one hotel, because we stayed in one hotel, and the convention and all that other shit was in the other hotel. So we leave the convention hotel, go back to our hotel, and she's following us, son. Because now it's a group of like 8 niggas. 8 real niggas, by the way. And she is following us. So we get to the spot. We in the little lounge area. Then we go to the restaurant and all this other shit. Now we sitting in there. We having drinks. We doing, you know what I'm saying, what we do. I step outside, smoke a spliff. Boom, I come back inside. And Shorty has now made her way to Maj. Now, Maj is from Philly. Maj knows pretty much every corner of Philly because that's how most Philly niggas operate. They done been throughout their city. You feel me? I'm pretty sure that's true for everybody. You feel me? But we get to listening to her speak. So she says she's from Philly. So she finally made it to Maj and shit like that. She trying to work him. You can clearly see she trying to work him. Like her cover is trash. Like she's trash. You feel me? She was like, yeah, you know, I heard your speech and, you know, I heard you was from Philly and all this other shit. He was like, yeah. She was like, I'm from Philly too. And he was like, oh, where? What part? Like, where you from in Philly? You know what this bitch said? I'm from East Philly. East Philly. East Philly, my nigga. Yo, listen, I lived in Philly 10 years. Never heard of it. I have never heard of an East Philly in my life, my nigga. Maj never heard of an East Philly. So Maj was like, what? So yeah, son, like, that was a part of it. That was a part of the experience. I know they got a dossier on Hotep Nation. I know they do. I know they got a whole federal dossier on me and anybody else that was surrounding us throughout that whole shit. You feel me? Go watch the interview that I did with Maj on the Patreon. We talk about how I was about to give one of them black conservatives the 1-2. You feel me? I was about to give him the old heave ho in the motherfucking White House for talking to me and my man Carl all fucking crazy. Me and Carl was about to pack that man out in the White House. Y'all be worried about fighting in the motherfucking airport and being put on the list. I don't even know what happens if you start a fight or you fight in the White House. I don't know. I don't know what would happen to me. I know it's federal jail because, I mean, D.C. is federal. There's no state. There's no city. It's a federal district. So I'm going to the feds immediately. You feel me? But yeah, we was about to pack son out. We was about to pack him out. I'm not finishing this video. It's too much weak energy coming from his voice, from his body. I don't like the hair. Nothing that I'm not jacking it. I really just wanted to. Actually, we're gonna take him out the bookmarks. We done with you. We done. All right, moving on. Not right now, white man. Not right now. Let's get to the actual elders. Let's see what the elders have to say.
When the slaves were getting ready to go out on the underground, they would hang a quilt on the fence or a door.
Absolutely.
With this pattern. And this pattern is called a monkey wrench. And it said to the slaves, get your belongings together. We'll be going out with the conductor soon. They would leave that up for a little while, then they would take it down, a few days maybe, and they'd put this one up. This one is called the drunkard's path. It said, we will follow the drunkard's path. It will make it difficult for slave catchers to catch us. And also slaves believe that evil spirits travel in a straight line. This is the bear's paw. We will follow bear tracks. You will find food, berries, honey, and maybe a place to stay during the day, except bear caves you wouldn't want to stay in, but that's what they did. This one is called the flying geese, and it said, we will follow the dark geese. And when this one was hung on the fence or line, they hung it with the dark geese facing north. Occasionally it would be faced west. That's the direction they needed to go. and they recognized the North Star.
Okay.
So, and they traveled
I remember that from
at night.
elementary school.
Yes. So all of these were hung at the slave quarters. This one was not. This one is the log cabin. And the log cabin was hung on the fence at a safe house. Now there were many safe houses along the way, and the people at the safe house was either white or black abolitionists. And they would provide a place for the slaves to stay during the day and find food and rest.
Right. So, yeah, the ancestors were geniuses. That's all. See, the lie they tell y'all is, oh, the ancestors was braiding maps in people's head. That doesn't make any fucking sense. What the fucking ancestors were actually doing were quilting messages, okay, inside of the quilt. They were quilting symbols that can be relayed and translated to the people who were in the know, because they understood that we had to keep things low. I said a while ago that I wasn't going to tell a particular part of Black American history, and I'm still not going to necessarily tell it, but I will tell you guys that it was a language. Okay, that's all I'm going to say, because it's not supposed to. Honestly, I don't think they think I'm disrespecting them and all of that, but if you know how to research, you know how to research. If you don't, you don't. You feel me? That's all I'm gonna say about it. And so when it comes to the quilts, yeah, son, we use symbols a lot. Like this is the reason why. First of all, before I even go into that, shout out to the elder and shout out to her calico dress. I'm more than sure that that's actually passed down to her, because the ancestors were big on they were big on the calico dresses. That was one of the main dresses that the little girls learned how to make, the stuff I was talking about before. You feel me? Hold on, let's take a pause, man. I ain't checked the chat in a minute. So let's take a pause. We'll get right back to the elder. Let's see. So Bert and Rashad is twisted in the chat. Okay. Bert says their guns were full of ancestor fodder for sure, using them as a trump card. I hate that. Glasgow says, what's good, dudes? Been a minute, but I'm in here. Shout out to Glasgow. Shout out to big coach Glasgow. Glad you can make it, brother. Shout out to y'all. Oh, look at Micah. Micah in the chat. Says expired. We don't say expired. Killed. Burnt up. You feel me? Let's see. Rashad says 100 emojis. Self-serving op. That's a fact. That's what they are. Call them out. Call them out when you see them. Call them out when you see him. When it's a motherfucker you see trying to get all hype and trying to get clout or trying to dunk on a nigga by telling you how fucked up the ancestors' lives was, tell them that, oh, you a self-serving op. That's what you are. Crystal says, don't apologize. That was necessary. You right. And thank you for the subscription to the Patreon. You're gonna love it, Crystal. Middleman Reek. Damn, how you make it clickable? I don't know. It's all good. JB Smooth says, well, I tried. JB Smooth says, you going in one of them dark rooms and being held for 72 hours. That's a fact. You turn up in the White House, bro. Son, they might be like an American gulag they're going to send you to, son. So, yeah, that's the chat. But shout out to the elder, like I said. I wanted to highlight the ancestral skill of Black women in storytelling. When it comes down to a lot of our oral historians in Black America, they're predominantly women, because women don't forget shit. So they're going to be the ones. She was able to tell you exactly how every last one of them patterns were made and what they meant. And I'm sure that's because her mother told her, and then her mother told her, because her mother is the one who quilted it. You feel me? And I want y'all to do that. Talk to your grannies, yo. Talk to your grannies and ask her about her childhood. And ask her about the oldest person that she knew. Because if she 90 or 80 and she knew somebody that was 90 or 80, we talking 200 years of your own family's history. Talk to your granny. Hashtag talk to your grannies. Make sure you get your own family lore out there. It's good to learn about your Samuel B. Fullers. It's good to learn about all of the people who made waves and stuff like that. But it's equally as important to make sure that you know your own family's history. Where you from? Where in the South that you from? When you Black American, I ain't gotta ask you where you from as far as like another country. I just gotta ask you, like, where in the South you from? See, me, my peoples is from Wilmington, North Carolina, and South Carolina. So on my mother's side, it's Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to my granny. My family was there for the 1898 riot. My father's side, Gullah Geechee, all the way down. You feel me? My father's mother still, like, they was raised on speaking that language. And for some reason, when the millennials came around, they didn't want to teach me. You feel me? But, you know, it is what it is. And so that's Gullah Geechee on my father's side and Wilmington, North Carolina on my mother's side. Like, it's big Black American energy over here. And yeah, yo, learn about your ancestors. Learn about your direct ancestors. I'm like 90% sure they did some fly shit. In order for you to even have gotten here, you had to have done some fly shit. Like, that's just how it goes, bro. Like, you are the result of infinite amounts of pairings to get you here, yo. Your ancestors had ancestors. And their ancestors had ancestors, son. That's how this shit works. That's how legacy works. You feel me? So, shout out to the elder breaking it down, giving you that good old Black American history, quilt codes, and Underground Railroad. You know what I'm saying? They ain't braid maps, nigga. They quoted them. Stupid motherfuckers. All right, moving on. Do I want to address this? Nearly every black man who says that Black Americans were better off before the Civil Rights Act, they have the same signs of low intelligence and lacking in critical thinking. I get why you feel that way on the surface, but just a little bit of critical thinking could have saved you. Yeah, I don't know why I bookmarked this, because it's pure rubbish. Rubbish. Gobbledygook. You feel me? Garbage. Why is it? Why? This is how I know you niggas be the product of mainstream history. See, I didn't go to school, so I didn't get. See, that's the benefits. Okay, we talking to adults right now. I hope the babies is not watching. You gotta watch the lives and be able to, you know, filter what I told you to the babies. When it comes to the Hotep history series that I post, like the scripted videos, I don't script curses in the videos. When we going live, we go live. You feel me? So you niggas who got indoctrinated in them goddamn public schools and shit like that, y'all walk around as if like Black America spawned out of nowhere in 1964. That's what y'all do. Y'all genuinely think that the timeline as far as Black American history is slavery, black codes, Jim Crow, Martin Luther King, Barack Obama. That's how you treat Black American history. You dumb ass nitwits, you numbskulls, you imbeciles, you idiots, you dumb asses. That's how y'all treat the ancestors in the Black American timeline. But even in the more contemporary sense, because y'all niggas don't really even use slavery until it's time to, you know, talk about, you know, whips and chains and shit like that. Y'all don't want to know about entrepreneurial slaves. They exist. Look up Lunsford Lane. Made guap as a slave, while a slave, owned a business while a slave. Y'all definitely don't want to talk about black slave owners. Y'all definitely don't want to start talking like that. And I'm not talking about the slave owners who bought they family members and shit like that and to keep them together. No. I'm talking about the black slave owners who was whipping ass and who had slaves for the same economic reasons as the crackers. Okay, y'all don't want to talk about them, so y'all don't even care about slavery for real. What y'all care about is the civil rights movement, because that's all y'all have been told in when it comes to y'all schooling. Do y'all know that there were mad people who didn't fuck with the civil rights movement? Like mad people. You know how we don't fuck with Black Lives Matter? Like actual intelligent real niggas today don't fuck with Black Lives Matter? Yeah. The ancestors back then was like, oh, that civil rights movement is some commie shit. I can show you. Hold on. I can show you. Let's go to my page real quick. Cause I just posted it. Let me show you what was happening on the ground. Since y'all niggas know so motherfucking much about the Civil Rights Act and the Civil Rights Movement. You feel me? And I'm not saying that there wasn't some benefits to the shit, but the way that y'all niggas laud that shit be pissing me the fuck off. So let's hold on. Let's go to the media real quick. Look at that handsome devil over there. You feel me? And we'll get to that in a second too. Where's he at? That's the book he wrote, but that's not who I'm looking for right now. There we go. Let's get to this. This is George S. Schooyer. Schooyer. We'll just say Schooyer. Right? He says, quote, Dr. King's principal contribution to world peace has been to roam the country like some sable typhoid Mary, infecting the mentally disturbed with perversions of Christian doctrine and grabbing fat lecture fees from the shallow-pated. That's what George had to say. Okay? What you don't understand is that these men and these women were very young. They were very ambitious. They had a bunch of communist friends. Shout out to Stanley Levison, Jack Odell, Baird Rustin. It's a bunch of commies, bro. Just keeping it tall with you. It's a bunch of communists. And I defended Martin Luther King. Like, up until, like, this spring, I was defending Martin. Like, niggas, I did an AMA, Ask Me Anything when it came to Black American history. And it was like, yo, Hotep, like, was Martin Luther King a commie? And I'm like, nah. Like, he got sermons. I'm big on primary source. He got sermons saying that he's not communist. He got sermons saying that he's against communism and shit like that. So I was riding for Martin. I didn't agree with a lot of his politics, but I wasn't going to call him a commie. But then my nigga Chad O. Jackson came through. You feel me? I knew about Stanley Levison. I knew about Baird Rustin. I knew about, like, him not being, like, staunchly anti-communist like a Manning Johnson would be. You feel me? But he did say, like, hey, yo, communism doesn't evoke God at all. You feel me? So, no, it's not like we not pushing communism. And I held Martin down in that regard. I did. I ain't really even entertain all of the rumors about him having hoes when they leaked the FBI files and him having orgies and shit like that. I'm not about to do that. I ain't about to do that. I ain't doing that. That ain't none of my motherfucking business. The only reason why it's any of our business anyway, because the feds was monitoring the nigga. You feel me? I ain't about to do that to him. I ain't about to fucking, make those types of judgments. Like, it is what it is. I don't care. That's really what it is. But nah, when Chad O. Jackson came through and gave us primary sources about all of the communistic shit that was going on, all of the communists that was back in the civil rights movement and all of that shit, like, yeah, nah. It's clear-cut commie shit. So, these are young people, man. These are college-age people. These are people in their late teens, 20s, getting into their 30s and stuff like that. These are young people. Very idealistic people who thought communism could actually be, ushered in or could actually work in America. And so the political ideologies of these people are going to be directly influenced by our enemies' political economic ideologies. You feel me? And the older men and women during this time understood that shit. They was like, oh, nah. No, we not marching for that shit. Nah, I'm good. No, I don't want to actually, I actually don't want to send my daughter to a fucking hostile environment and have her her books ripped the fuck up and all this other shit. I actually don't. Hold on, can we find it? Because I think I tweeted about this shit. Hold on. Let's see if we can find it here. Hotep Dubes Ruby. Let's just type in Ruby. Is her tweet gonna come up? Is my cause I put. There we go. It should be here somewhere. Damn, son. But I had posted. Whatever. I had posted an excerpt from Ruby's parents. And did I put Ruby or Ruby? Rudy or Rudy? Let me try again. Yeah, there we go. I must have spelled it wrong. Here we go. Shout out to the Ethernet cord again. Shorty blocked me, by the way. I put this in her, like I quote tweeted her with this shit, and she blocked me because of it. This is from Ruby's book herself that she wrote. This is her book, primary source. Let's read it. Let's read it together, chat. It says, this is from Ruby, by the way. It says, several people from the NAACP came to the house in the summer. They told my parents that I was one of just a few black children to pass the school board test and that I had been chosen to attend one of the white schools, William Frantz Public School. They said it was a better school and closer to my home than the one I had been attending. They said I had the right to go to the closest school in my district. They pressured my parents and made a lot of promises. They said my going to William Frantz would help me, my brothers, my sister, and other black children in the future. We would receive a better education, which would give us better opportunity as adults. Okay? So that's the spin. So before we even get to the next page, this is what the NAACP has historically been known to do. They big PR stunts. Like they big on PR stunts. Little Rock 9, Ruby Bridges, Rosa Parks, and that whole shit, because they definitely wasn't about to highlight Claudette, right? Colvin. No. They wasn't going to do that. So they big on PR stunts. That's their whole thing. So the NAACP comes to Ruby Bridges' crib, and it's essentially giving them the sales pitch like, yo, your daughter is going to be one of a few kids who's going to go to this school. She's so bright. She's so great. She's going to be able to make history. It's going to be so great. You know, you guys deserve to go to the closest school to your front door. All of this shit. And so the NAACP all in their crib and shit like that. Figure it's like a group of them. And they all in the kitchen. They hitting up with the sales pitch, right? So the next page says, my parents argued about what to do. My father, Abon, didn't want any part of school integration. Shout out to the black man. Shout out to the black man. See, this is why black men are needed in the goddamn household. This is why black men are needed in the household, because we won't be going. We won't be going for shit. We won't be going for the silly shit. The sales pitch and all that, we're not going. We're not fucking with it. Okay? You listen to me, we're not going to do this. If we just listen to Ruby Bridges' father, we're not even going through this shit. So again, this is the same thing. How y'all be, how they be using Ruby Bridges' picture when she's walking down the steps and shit like that, and gotta be escorted by the motherfucking National Guard, and got a bunch of grown ass white people literally screaming at a child, literally abusing a child. No father in his right mind is sending his daughter into that. His entire job is to make sure he's protecting that little girl. Why the fuck would he send his daughter into a hostile environment like that? He wouldn't. If it was up to him, the shit would have never happened. Ruby says he was a gentleman and feared that angry segregationists might hurt his family. You feel me? Having fought in the Korean War. So again, Ruby, I understand you don't want to have your father look like a brute, but it ain't no way a nigga fought in war and he's a gentleman. You could be a gentleman, but being a gentleman, I don't know. But that's your father. You love him. I ain't going, you know what I mean? He experienced segregation on the battlefield where he risked his life for his country. He didn't think that things would ever change It didn't, because schools is definitely, segregated. Towns and shit still segregated. For the most part, motherfuckers live amongst themselves. He didn't think I would ever be treated as an equal. Lucille, my mother, was convinced that no harm would come to us. How? How? Please tell me how that's possible, Lucille. No disrespect. No disrespect. How could they have convinced you that no harm was going to come to your baby? How? Can't guarantee that. First of all, it's summertime. School not even open right now. School not even open right now. How can you guarantee that nothing is going to happen to my baby? There's absolutely no way that you can do that. Unless you are all about to be walking and armed and ready to boom whatever comes my daughter's way, you can't even assure her safety. And even if you were able to do that, you still can't assure her safety. The only thing at this point that would mitigate risk was to make sure that my black baby keeps going to a black. She was going, Ruby, it wasn't like Ruby wasn't in school. She was going to a black school. She was just fine. It's just that the school that they were using for the PR stunt was closer to her crib, so they needed that. They needed that. And I promise you, if the Bridges would have said no, all they would have done is just went to their neighbor and hit him with the same pitch. But anyway, she thought that the opportunity for me to get the best education possible was worth the risk, and she finally convinced my father. Next page. This is her mother speaking. This is a quote from her mother. It says, Ruby was special. I wanted her to have a good education so she can get a good job when she grew up. But Ruby's father thought his child shouldn't go where she wasn't wanted. There were things I didn't understand. I didn't know Ruby would be the only black child in the school. I didn't know how bad things would get. I remember being afraid on the first day Ruby went to France, to the France school, when I came home and turned on the TV set, and I realized that at that moment, the whole world was watching my baby and talking about her. At that moment, I was most afraid. You see what I'm talking about? The NAACP went into the Bridges household, told them a bunch of bullshit, okay, and then got them to hit the PR stunt, because you know what happened? This happened. This fucking happened. Sorry, y'all. Jesus. This is what happened. This is what happened. And yes, she's still alive today. But this is what happened. Photo ops. Photo ops. She's an adorable little girl. The NAACP knew all about PR. Knew all about PR. They knew how to make things look a particular way. Look at this adorable child. Why would you deny her her right to education? That's what this shit was all about. That's what this was all about. It's a PR stunt at the expense of a little girl's mental health, physical health. So y'all niggas don't know what the fuck you niggas is talking about. And I know you can try to think that you can call me dumb because I don't fuck with forced integration. But I'm not wrong. And the ancestors wasn't wrong for not fucking with it either. The ancestors wanted proper tax allocation. That's what they wanted. They wanted desegregation. That's it. They didn't want integration, forced integration. They wanted desegregation. Those are two different things. I know that you have been told that they're synonymous, but they are not. Those are two different things. To desegregate is just to mean that, you have access to all of these different places, and you also get what everybody else gets. That's what that means. Integration is that, we're going, all of them schools Booker T. Washington and Julius Rosenwald built, we demolishing those shits. All of the black schools, all of the black establishments, all of the black this and that and the third, Yeah, we demolishing that shit so we can work at fucking Macy's. We can work at Woolworths. We can work at Sears or wherever the fuck. That's the difference. The ancestors wanted desegregation, not integration. They were already integrating on their own volition because that's what grown motherfucking adults do. Did anybody ever have to force you after the time that you became whatever age, but let alone an adult? They had to tell you who you should or shouldn't be friends with? Or did you make your own goddamn assessments on the people that you interacted with? Huh? Did the government have to force you to make friends with white people? Did the government have to force you to talk to white people? No. You did that on your own volition. And you think, yo, if it wasn't for the government doing that shit, nobody would have had fellowship with white people? White people wouldn't have fellowship with black people without the government intervening, my nigga. Do you honestly want to fellowship with a white person that doesn't want to fellowship with you? What type of power dynamic is that? Yo, I know you don't want me here and shit, but the government said that I can be here. Can I please have some food? Can I please have a job? Can I please have goods and services? How do you think that's going to go? And why do you think the ancestors in Bowley said what they said? We don't deal with these fucking issues because we don't go to them. We don't need them. They don't give a fuck. Hold on, let me see if I can find that clip. You feel me? Because that shit is a mainstay, son. The ancestors cooked with that shit, son. The ancestors cooked with that. What did they say? Oh, man. I always do this. I keep forgetting the keyword that I use. I don't think it was integration. Nah. Damn, son. But in the video of episode 2, Hotep History, episode 2, Black American Towns, there's a quote towards the end of the documentary where they talk about, did I type Bowley in? Was it Bowley? No. I ain't gonna lie, this is so hype, yo. You know. And niggas was mad at me about posting this shit. Like, this is fucking pathetic. It was one of them, but it's like basically, yo, they was like, yo, listen, a white man will call you Mr. All Right when he needs you for something. You haven't noticed that shit? Have y'all not noticed that shit? You feel me? Can y'all show me a bunch of white people having sit-ins in black American establishments? Can y'all show me where you've ever respected somebody begging you for something? Have you ever respected anybody demanding something of you that you didn't want to give? Have you ever thought that those people were respectful? Yeah, shout out to the Ethernet core, Cliff. That's what I'm trying to talk about, son. Cliff was in the trenches with me. He remember when the streams was getting shut down in the middle of the rants. You feel me? But damn, son. Oh, man. Town? Nah. I'm trying to tell y'all, son. That video, that shit was epic. That shit was fucking epic. Now, how is it no media and it's all media? This is what I'm talking about with Elon's bullshit. No, none of this. No. All right. Fine. Moving on. Yeah, we didn't want integration. We wanted desegregation. It's a difference. All right. Moving on. Because I'm not about to address this shit too much. Oh my God. Yeah, we gotta address this. Son. We have to address this shit. Yo, listen. I hate everything about this video. I do. Y'all know I do. And I'm mad, Rashad, I don't know if you're still in here, but I'm mad I couldn't pop into the space. I was doing too much work to be able to stop what I was doing, son. But son, this shit had me hot. Now listen, I'm glad that this is a primary source tweet. You feel me? But I like, yo, listen, it's not the outfits that I got a problem with. It's not the dancing that I got a problem with. It's not the fact that he's calling himself a self-proclaimed cool teacher, which I think is totally cringe. It ain't even that. It's the fact that this shit is being recorded in a school. It's the fact that this shit is showing there is no importance on the actual education. It's just this nigga busting a goddamn jig in various garments to try to show how lit he is as a teacher. And it's like, yo, my nigga, time and place, my nigga. You know, you can still do all of these fucking dances and shit like that in your living room. Like, yeah, nah, fuck out of here, Rashad. Because I know you was probably in there fucking defending this bullshit, bro. I know you was in there defending it. I couldn't pop in. Son. But this shit had me hot as a motherfucking fish grease, son. Like, listen. Bro, listen, son. Wear your funny outfits, bro. Cool. You feel me? I'm not mad that you doing the goofy dances and shit. What I am mad at is that you doing this shit at the school. I am mad at you doing this goofy shit in the school, my nigga. What are you fucking do? First of all, son, what's the test scores like? Can we get into that? Dance, show me the fucking test scores. Dance while you show me the fucking test scores, nigga. Yeah, you dressing like you in a fucking 70s sitcom, but nigga, show me the test scores, my nigga. You dressing like you on a different world and what's happening at the same time. Okay? Ain't none of this shit like, yo, son, I promise you, we talking about school, right? Now, I'm telling you right now, if my daughter had to choose between going to a racist ass white school where these motherfuckers actually just sat the fuck down and did their goddamn work versus a nigga hitting the jig between periods, it's like 5 different outfits he did this shit with, bro. Like, this nigga is like, come on, son. What is this? Yo, son, you know I would have respected all of this shit if he was dancing with like his accumulative test scores for his students. Like, yo, I know I wear these fucking this monkey ass shit. You know what I'm saying? I know I do. I know I'm dressed like I'm part of the junkyard gang with Fat Albert and shit. However, all of my babies is reading proficiently. All of my babies is reading at grade level. All of my babies is doing math at grade level. I don't know what does anybody know what subject he teaches? Rashad, I'm pretty sure y'all covered that part. What subject does this nigga teach? Tell me in the chat, my nigga. Please tell me what fucking this nigga look like. If I had to guess based upon the fits, my nigga, he an English teacher, social studies, nigga. Yeah. I'm going social studies. What subject this nigga teach, man? This nigga wearing a yellow beret, bro. Come on, son. Banana yellow berets. I don't want my daughter being taught by a nigga wearing a yellow beret at all. Hell no. The sock hat. Look at this, son. And then he got the wide crop top joints that I don't like. Son, tell me the subject that this nigga teaches, bro. Does he teach dance class? Is that what this is? Is he a dance teacher? Real shit, son. Like, when it come to these, millennials, son, as a millennial, son, you niggas is embarrassing, bro. You wearing zebra pants, bro. You're wearing zebra pants. Come on, son. See, that's the only outfit that's acceptable. This one, no, the pants is crazy. No, none of these crop top joints is acceptable. But the zebra pants, absolutely fucking not, my nigga. No way. The Fat Albert outfit, that's the only one. Hold on, let's fucking pause. This one right here, my nigga. Wear this every day. Wear this same fucking outfit every day, my nigga. You want to teach my baby something? Wear this. Wear the Argyle fucking sweater with the white pants and the big black boots, shirt and tie. What Rashad say? He trying to relate to the kids. Yo, listen, my nigga. Every last one of my teachers was fucking old and or fat and frumpy, my nigga. And I ain't gonna hold you. I'm not the best person to talk about this shit. Well, maybe because I didn't start fucking around like outside of school and shit until after yo, Rashad, you going to hell. You hear me? Look at me. Ain't nobody else in this room right now. You're going to hell, nigga. HE double hockey sticks. If I catch you wearing zebra print pants, bro, I'm flying to wherever you at and I'm going to harm you, nigga. I am. I'm going to be violent towards you. Do you not understand that? Zebra pants are outrageous. Shout out to my nigga Average Consumer. These outfits are outrageous. Yo, son, I'm gonna let y'all know some shit. Just shit on my nigga Rashad. Real quick. That's my nigga. That's my guy. That's my brother. So we was in a space and we was talking about Drake saying that egregious shit about UK rappers being the best lyricists in the world, right? And they was trying to gaslight real niggas in the chat in on the space and saying, "Oh, y'all niggas is outraged and all this other shit." And I was like, "Nah, I'm not outraged." You know what my nigga Shaw said? My nigga Shaw said, "Nah, fuck that, Hotep. I'm outraged." Yo, I'm about to clip that up and use it as a soundbite on my stream. But this nigga said, "Nah, fuck that, Hotep. I'm outraged." I was crying on mute. I was crying on mute, son. So, nah, fuck that, Rashad. I'm outraged. Like, fuck that, Rashad. I am outraged. I don't want no nigga wearing any print that is coming from the continent of Africa to teach my babies. So if you wearing leopard print pants, panther print, zebra print, nigga, aardvark, whatever, nigga, I don't give a fuck. If it's coming out of the Serengeti, my nigga, you can't wear it. You cannot wear it, my nigga. If this is not a domestic American animal on the continent of North America, you can't fucking wear it in American classrooms. I don't want to see my teachers wearing zebra print pants. You shitting me? I need to see the test scores. So Rashad say, yo, we didn't get to the test, to the subject that he was teaching. That's the fucking point. That's my goddamn point right there, Rashad. The nigga distracting y'all. The nigga distracted y'all with these funny outfits and shit, these loud ass outfits. Y'all didn't even think to ask, yo, what subject does this nigga even teach? What does he do? What is he doing in the building? What is your job, my nigga? What are you teaching? Now I gotta look it up. Now I gotta do it. First of all, I want y'all to know I went to the nigga page, okay? And I think his on TikTok is like Carefree Black Boy. Red flag, number 2. And I get it, because niggas, he only retweeted the people that support this goofy shit. And yo, everybody know that Carefree love the kids. He love his family. He a loving husband. He a loving father. And all. Yo, copy that. Copy that. I didn't ask that nigga about his personal life. I didn't ask him if he loved his wife or take care of his daughter. That's not what I said. Shout out, it's a beautiful black family. Beautiful photos. I want them to thrive. I want them to thrive as a family, for sure, my nigga. But the fucking dancing? No. Keep that shit. What motherfucking subject does he teach? Y'all can't even tell me. The teacher fits not gonna stop cause of negativity. Oh, okay. He meant, okay, got you. The teacher fit's not gonna stop because of negativity. Them elementary school kids love the fits, the colors, the TikToks. There's a healthy balance of work getting done plus having fun. Show me the test scores, nigga. You feel me? Show me the test scores then. Niggas is working hard and diligently and shit. Because I would think my daughter would be motherfucking distracted by the zebra pants. I'm telling you right now. Be distracted when you dressed up like you on a set of What's Happening, nigga. You feel me? Nah, you wearing yellow berets. Ain't no way work getting done. Nigga Paris. Look at Paris. Shout out to Paris, man. All right, yeah, he's only going to retweet the supporters. I want to know what subject. I want to know what subject son is teaching, bro. Real shit. We coming towards the end of this shit, man. But I had to, get my shit off when it come to this shit. What Rashad say? Can't get the test scores if he can't relate to the kids first. Teaching is different now, aka Gracie's Corner. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. What is who is Gracie? Now I gotta Google that. Who the fuck is Gracie? See, and I know Rashad about to piss me off, son. Musical artist? Ross. So right now, Rashad is comparing educational cartoons to a nigga. All right, man. It's cool. So now we got to dress up like the cartoons now. All right, Rashad. Okay, we're not going to do this. Me and you always have bump head when it comes to parenthood and shit like that. It's cool. Listen, I'm not mad at, this was the tweet. Fucking Tyler Cohen, but we can take him out the bookmarks. Get him the fuck out of here. But yeah, let's go back. Damn, son, I be yapping. I ain't get to not even half of the topics I was supposed to be talking about tonight. And I've been on this bitch 3 hours. Yo, listen, son. If at the end of the day, them test scores is lit, if at the end, because like, dog, when you talking about relating to kids and shit like that, like, I get what you saying, bro, but it ain't really hard, son. Like, it's like one of the easiest things to do to relate to a kid. Children are not Rubik's Cubes, bro. Like, people were passing classes with teachers that wore fucking 3-piece suits and shit like that. Niggas was dressed up like motherfucking Ben Carson and shit, man. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that, nigga. So outfits and shit. Oh my God, I'm gonna learn so much more because the nigga is wearing crop tops. Like, come on, son. I don't want to hear that. You're not pitching me that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Gracie's Corner. Shout out to, listen, only shout out to him if the test scores is what they are. Y'all can't even tell me the subject he teaches, but y'all can let me, we've seen 5 looks. He got 5 looks off. So, yeah, man. Moving on, son. Rashad, I blame you. Real talk. I blame Rashad for this shit. We're going to skip that one. Basically, son was saying that Gen Z is going to be homesteading, blah, blah, blah. It's super cool. I mean, it's a minute long.
For a long time,
I ain't going to talk about it too much, but we can watch the video.
So many people wonder why younger generations are flooding toward homesteading, and I really think the answer is pretty simple. I mean, just think about what we've been taught our entire lives. Things need to be quicker, faster, more efficient. Time is of the essence. Convenience is king. This all sounds familiar, right? For a long time, we were convinced that convenience was more important than quality. So I think what you're seeing from the younger generation is them waking up and understanding that we've been robbed of something. The quality of growing your own food in your backyard and knowing exactly what's in it. Or the quality of life increase that you get just from slowing down and not letting everyone else dictate your time. I think what you're seeing is the younger generation finally come to an understanding that the 24/7, 365 lifestyle is a scam. And instead of trying to time hack your morning routine, sometimes you just need to walk outside and pet a baby goat. Or just walk outside and touch some grass, get some sun on your skin, maybe come outside and look at your garden. I think at the end of the day, what you're seeing is a generation that understands that speed and efficiency doesn't always equal quality. I think that's exactly why you're seeing the younger generation find out what homesteading is and absolutely loving it. So if you want to learn more about backyard...
Yeah. So pretty much, yeah, son. Homesteading, y'all already know how I give it up when it comes. We can take this out of the bookmarks. Y'all already know how I give it up when it comes to, growing your own shit, being self-sufficient. Ancestral Black American ethos all the way, and I'm glad this shit was finally fucking community noted, because you niggas are pissing me off with the AI, son. Real shit. Listen, if you want to use your AI for creative reasons and shit like that, that's cool. But when you are now using AI to lie and say, yo, this is what the ancestors was doing and shit like that, my nigga, you lost me. And you'll forever lose me. You'll forever lose me. You're lying on the ancestors via artificial intelligence, and I don't like it, my nigga. I don't like you niggas. I don't like you niggas that do this shit, son. I don't. This is made up. This is gobbledygook. This is not real. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. Believe it. This image is AI. Straight up and down, son. I'm not going to say that Native Americans weren't naturally black. That's a little bit of a stretch. But this picture is absolute bullshit. I want you to know that motherfuckers just wasn't wearing this. These headdresses and shit like that. Niggas was wearing this shit in war and ceremony and shit. Like, they didn't just walk around with these headdresses on. Goofy ass nigga. I hate you niggas. I'm telling you, I really do. I do not like you niggas who use these fake ass pictures. Y'all do it a lot. We had to talk about this shit in one of the other streams and shit. Talking about the black cowgirls. Yeah, just made that shit up. Actually go through the archives like I do and find old photos, nigga. I know it's hard because Google don't give a fuck about the ancestors, nigga. You gotta dig deep. Most of the pictures that y'all be seeing me post and shit like that don't be coming from Google, nigga. I don't be Googling, nigga. I go to the archive, nigga. You know how I do? Ironically, I use something like Claude and I'll ask for primary sources for a particular thing. You feel me? Get the primary sources and then read through them. Then I'll go to different college websites, like Yale has a good one. UNC has another good one. UPenn has another good one. And I go into their digital archives and I search and I search and I search. It's no different than when motherfuckers be in the file cabinets and shit. That's what I do. That's what I do. See, the thing is, my shit may take a little bit longer. That's why I opted to do the live streams and shit, because this is me giving y'all at least the daily content and all the other shit. But my videos take as long as they do, nigga, because they're lying them. I had to research. I was telling King Randall when we was having this conversation on Spaces, and I was letting him know, like, yo, one sentence in my scripted videos takes an entire page of primary source for me to actually say it. You know, people look at my shit, like my scripted videos and shit like that. That shit is so controversial. And I find that shit so funny is that I'm getting this shit directly from the ancestors. And y'all be telling me that I'm being, you know, ahistorical and shit. How is it that I'm getting this shit directly from the tap? I'm getting this shit directly from the faucet. And you niggas is telling me that I'm saying something wrong. Maybe, just maybe, you niggas are the one that was lied to. And even if I do fuck with a secondary source, the secondary source still, yo, so the primary source would be like from anywhere between the 1500s to the 1800s, right? And then secondary sources start to come around then, like the late 19th, early 20th century and shit, right? Your 1910s, 1920s, all of that shit. What I'm saying to you, even my secondary sources is older than y'all niggas' sources. Y'all be listening to a motherfucker who wrote a book in fucking 2019 and shit about something that happened in 1790 and 1820 and shit. And it don't be no primary sources in the motherfucker. It's just be, yo, trust me, bro, this was what went down. I'm not going for it. So when it comes to my videos, okay? When it comes to my videos, they're going to be primary sourced, secondary sourced with primary sources cited that says, oh yeah, this 100% fucking happened. 100% confirmed in the air and on the ground. What the fuck I need to lie on the ancestors for? I be getting on y'all niggas necks about that shit. Stop fucking lying on the ancestors. You don't gotta do that. You don't gotta do that. Just read the book. Trust me, the ancestors not gonna pull no punches, bro. They gonna tell you how gruesome their life was, but they also gonna tell you how lit that shit was. They gonna tell you. Yo, listen, there was this black slave owner. He's called you can look him up. Now, this is Googleable. He's called the Barber of Natchez, Mississippi. The Barber of Natchez. He kept a journal. A daily journal. Now, the Barber of Natchez was a slave owner. He was a black man who owned slaves. But he had this one slave in particular named Stephen. Okay? Stephen was a drunk. How many times have y'all ever heard of a story of drunk slaves? I've read plenty. I have read some crazy slave narratives. You hear me? Crazy slave narratives. But anyway, Stephen was a drunk. Steven would be hired out to do some particular work and shit like that. The barber or naturist would hire him out, go work for some white man, go work for some white lady or whatever, and bring the fucking money back. What Steven would do is he would get the money, pocket some of it, get some alcohol, drink, run away from wherever the fuck the barber had him staying at, and be found the next day or days later drunk in some like patch somewhere. Then the barber will have to come get him, and then bring him back and then tell him like, yo, listen, don't do that shit again, don't do that shit again, until the barber started whooping Steven ass. You hear me? The barber started whooping Steven. So Steven ran away one more time. Barber cooked his fucking, I'm telling you, he whooped his ass. So he ran away one more time. And the Steven was like, yo, listen, son, I'll come back to the plantation if you promise you don't whoop my ass when I get there. The barber said, okay, cool. You feel me? I won't whip you, all this other shit. So Steven comes back to the motherfucking plantation, son. He hires Steven out again. And y'all know Steven got the fuck up out of there again, son. But like the thing is, he didn't go nowhere. Like, son would escape, but stay in town. So again, when it comes to primary sources, bro, y'all don't be knowing like, yo, my primary sources, them shits be like movies, my nigga. Y'all be reading that boring ass shit. I be reading real like thrillers, nigga. It's real shit that's going down. It was this black man that got into a shootout with an entire town, nigga. He lost, obviously. But this nigga smoked 2 cops. No, 3. He smoked 3 cops. Was hiding in hotels and shit. This nigga got holed up into a building, an abandoned building, where he was shooting out the window, all types of shit. This is something that really happened, nigga. This is what the ancestors was doing. They was kicking shit up. And y'all niggas be over here like, oh my God, the ancestors, they were so helpless and defenseless. And I'm reading about how a black man was giving an entire town hell. On his own, nigga, on foot, no car, no horse, no nothing. Nigga was walking and running through the town, son, smoking shit. They had him fucked up. And you know what? He was like, you know what? Nah, I'm not going. This is the reason why, chat. This is the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, I don't be having them hangups that these niggas be having, son. Because I read real black American history, nigga. That real shit. I'm like, yo, this is uncut cocaine black American history, nigga. It's that pure shit. Let me show y'all, like, when it comes down to the unfiltered shit. I'm not even talking about the black history part, because this would be considered white history low key. So let's see if cocaine. I think cocaine. Yeah, cocaine. Cocaine should be a good enough keyword. Yeah, this is right here. Right here. See, y'all never even heard. Y'all didn't hear about a white newspaper called The Caucasian, nigga. That's how real it was in the field. This newspaper is for crackers only. Crackers only. You feel me? Let's get into it. This is how they was talking. I said the racism of the early 20th century was like Peruvian cocaine. This is the pure shit. Do y'all see this? Do I have to zoom in? I may have to zoom in. Hold on. I appreciate that OBS doesn't show my menus and stuff when I'm on stream. That's super cool. Don't trip. They gonna keep. All right, whatever. But at the bottom of this paper, I don't know if y'all can read it, but it says more nigger outrages. That's how they was talking. That's how they was coming. This is from what year? Hold on. Let me put it on the big screen. This is from. Oh shit, this is not even 20th century. This is 19th century. 1898, Raleigh, North Carolina. Son. I lived in Raleigh for some years, son. And I ain't gonna lie to you. The history of Raleigh, son, in publications like the News and Observer, the newspaper that's pretty much one of like the most popular newspaper in Raleigh, was the most racist shit that you have ever read historically. Real shit. So this is what I be reading. That's why I'm not sensitive like you niggas, not y'all in the chat, but I'm not sensitive like y'all. Cause I really read, like I really be like in the archives, son. I spend most of my days between the years of 1798 to about 1963-ish, 64-ish. It's nothing but war racism, son. Motherfuckers, I was in a online little chat and shit like that. Motherfuckers was like, how could you go to the White House? Trump, what Trump represents and all this other shit. I'm like, yo, y'all niggas have absolutely no idea. No idea, son. Y'all think that shit is racist. You think Trump is racist, my nigga. Goddamn. Coolidge went to, let me show y'all what Coolidge did. We about to get out of here. We going on what? 4 hours, right? We started at 8:30. So Coolidge. Oh my God. Niggas be pissing me off. They be lying. I know I put that shit in the keyword. There we go. Did I put his name in here? Yeah, right here. I wrote Coolidge and they said no results. But anyway, Coolidge went to Howard University to pander to the niggas. And the way that he pandered to the niggas was basically saying, yo, I love the progress you guys are making. Shout out to y'all, the Negro this, the Negro that, blah, 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 blah. Right? And I said, this is how politicians used to pander to us. Stoic, dry compliments. Coolidge told us, your future is on you. That's what he said. Essentially, don't look to the white man to help you or save you, nigga. Well, don't look to the white man to save you. Your future is on you. And he wasn't too fond of race mixing. He was very public about that. Was not digging the miscegenation at all. However, he pushed for anti-lynching and gave Howard University $500,000 adjusted for inflation, $9.2 million for medical training. The special field of usefulness for educated Negro men and women was declared by Mr. Coolidge to be worked with their own people needing help, guidance, leadership, and inspiration. Quote, the Negro community of America has already so far progressed that its members can be assured that their future is in their own hands. Your own hands, nigga. They ain't got shit to do with us. Okay? Racial hostility, ancient tradition, and social prejudice are not to be eliminated immediately or easily. Letting you know, bro, niggas is going to be racist for a while. He's saying this to Howard University students, graduates. But they will be lessened as the colored people, by their own efforts and under their own leaders, shall prove worthy of the fullest measure of opportunity. This is what a president told niggas. You imagine if Trump would have said some shit like this, niggas would have blew, like they minds would have like turned into mush. Imagine Trump going to Howard University and talking to the graduating class of 2024, being like, yeah, your future is in your own hands, okay? Your community, okay, has progressed a lot, but your future is in your own hands. Yo, listen, you know, the racial hostility and ancient tradition and social prejudice and shit like that, yeah, that's not going away quickly. And if you want to expedite it, you got to work your ass off. That's what a president said, my nigga. And if you vote for me, I got you. Here's what he did. Work asked for $500,000 for Howard University. Washington, August 31st. Dr. Hubert Work, Secretary of the Interior, will ask Congress to appropriate $500,000 for the construction and equipment of an addition to the medical and dental school at Howard University here. Of the amount sought, $130,000 for equipment, These amounts have been already included in the estimates of the appropriations of the Department of the Interior for the coming fiscal year of 1925, exactly 100 years ago. Exactly 100 years ago. Secretary Work, cool last name, said that it is due to the insufficient facilities for the education of the colored race and the medical and dental professions existing throughout the United States. At the present time, the medical school of Howard University is being conducted in a small building. Okay, the proposed appropriation will be used to build a large structure which would practically double its present capacity. This is the same cracker that said, yo, I don't want to race mix, and your future's in your own hands. And niggas is questioning me. Why'd you go to Trump? How could you? Nigga, what? Do you know what my ancestors was doing? Do you know like who they had to pick between in elections? You talking about Trump and Biden, bro? Like, get the fuck out of here. And yes, 90% of the black vote. You know why? Because black Americans historically have not been these emotional fucking crybabies that needed white people to like them, nigga. It's not what we've been on, dog. That's not what we about. Don't give a fuck about all of that shit. We ain't trying to change white hearts like the goofball that told Hillary Clinton that shit. Nah, son, we got tangibles out of this nigga Coolidge. Nigga gave us $9 million adjusted for inflation, and we built a fucking medical facility with it, nigga. What Trump got for niggas? What Biden got for niggas? I don't give a fuck who in office. What you got? What can you do for niggas? That's all I give a fuck about. I don't give a fuck about red, blue, none of that shit. I'll vote libertarian if they got something good for the niggas. Y'all gonna learn one day. Y'all gonna learn one day. 100 years ago, this is how we was getting to the bag. How many doctors have come out of Howard University? How many black doctors, how many black American doctors have come out of Howard University based upon the medical facility that a racist president granted them? Y'all want to like these niggas. Y'all want to talk like, yo, son, that Obama Clinton shit got y'all cooked. Since that nigga was able to fucking play the saxophone on Arsenio Hall, you think you need to like your fucking president. Since Obama had the wicked jump shot and had niggas swag surfing on the lawn, you think you gotta like your president. No, nigga. No. You gotta get shit done. You gotta actually have some type of motherfucking solutions ready. Because if you don't, you're gonna get another Obama administration where he give you nothing but lip service, pause. Give black America nothing but lip service. And niggas, this is the height of Black Lives Matter. I don't know if y'all remember that. But all of that Black Lives Matter shit was happening, you feel me, under Obama. Under Obama. Trayvon Martin, Mike Brown, Sandra Bland, Philando Castile, all of them. That was under Obama. And they didn't get shit. We ain't get shit but body cams. Shout out to what I think he pushed the gay marriage shit. That's what Obama did. And then he was a war criminal. But he had a wicked jump shot and he was swag surfing on the lawn. He was cool. Niggas liked him. Y'all better wake the fuck up, my nigga. I'm trying to tell you, politics that's not how we do politics in this country. Straight up and down. That's not how we do fucking politics in this country. Y'all niggas better wake the fuck up. Wake up. Like Shorty was talking about, stand up. Wake up. Yeah, what we gonna end on? Yeah, I think we gonna end on the Cracker Barrel shit. I think we I think we ended it. Oh, no. See, y'all was gonna let me forget the crackers. All right, we're gonna run through these. So, let's take it here. And after that, I'm getting the fuck up out of here. All right, so I say, excuse me. Believe it or not, there was an actual definition for what a cracker was. A cracker was a lawless Lily or Dixie white man who used mob rule and violence to enact, quote, justice against black people. They'd hide their crimes behind the guise of respectability and Christianity. Crackers. Okay? That is what a cracker is. Now, if you've been in any type of space with me for longer than 5 minutes, you've heard me say cracker a million times within that 5-minute span. I love the word. Love the word. Almost as much as I love nigga. Letting you know now. You feel me? But there is a definition. I'm not even going to attempt to read that shit under there, but letting you know that's what a cracker is. I know that y'all probably have been told, if you've ever been told, that cracker was about, cracking the whip against the slave and shit like that. That was a part of it, but it's crackers. They were undesirable people. They were undesirable people. Like white people called other white people crackers. Like I'm trying to tell you, y'all niggas, y'all getting real history here. See, the thing is, if I come to school as a teacher dressed like this, they gonna, I'm doing this fucking dance and shit like that and all of that fucking jig and shit, you feel me? They gonna be like, yo, what the fuck does he teach and shit like that? And I'm gonna be like, yo, I teach Black American history. You know what I mean? The best. The best and brightest of Black American history, son. But I'm gonna hit you with some shit like this and let you know the definition of cracker. Cause y'all need to know it. Y'all hear me say it all of the time. Yeah, son, crackers exist. These are the crackers. See how they drew them? He remind me. This cracker actually reminds me of the caricatures that they be drawing of black people, like the white nationalist dudes, when they be drawing those big ear, big nose, big lip means and shit of black people. This is that shit remind me of. Gorilla face ass, Neanderthal face ass motherfucker, like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what a cracker is, y'all. So if y'all ever heard me, which I know y'all have, heard me say cracker, this is the type of this is the type I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So, don't be offended. There's a son. There's a particular type. There's a type of white that is a cracker. You know what I'm saying? All right. So we are gonna leave on a positive note though. So we're gonna do the Cracker Barrel. Speaking of cracker, they done took the cracker in the barrel out of Cracker Barrel. And I don't even think we even need to hear it, because I think what we're looking at is exactly what I'm talking about. See, crackers, you feel me? They were the ones who created Cracker Barrel. You can tell. You feel me? We're going to get into the Kevin on Stage video because he summed it up succinctly. But it's like, yo, you need... See, y'all niggas don't understand. That's what I'm saying, son. Like, when you got ancestral Black American, ethos going on inside of you, son, you're not shook up by social racism, son. You're almost like you built for it. Not that you like it, but you built for it. You're not really bugged out. I told y'all before, like, when I was going door to door, quick little story. I was going door to door. I'm in this small podunk Pennsylvania town. It's hot as hell outside. And everybody everybody's below the poverty line. You feel me? Like the richest motherfucker in that town probably made like $100 or some shit like that. Like, I don't know why they had sent us to this town, but I'm not the boss. I'm not the boss. So whenever they deploy me and I go to these places. So I'm knocking, all of that. This dude is on the phone. He looks back. He sees that it's me. And he's like, yo, there's a nigger at my door. I'm going to call you right back. I was like, all right. So he come to the door. It's like, yo, I was like, I hit him with the pitch. You know what I'm saying? Ever the professional. I hit him with the pitch and shit. And he was like, no, thank you. And I was like, all right, good. Have a great, have a good fucking day or something. I know I said fucking in the shit. And I walked away. You feel me? Now, you fake sensitive you sensitive, fake tough niggas would have told me like, oh man, I wouldn't have took that. I would have whooped his ass and shit like that. So I'm like, okay, so you in the state of Pennsylvania, an open carry state, the only parts like that are not open carry is places like Philadelphia, that unconstitutional hellhole. You feel me? And other places like that. But in this small ass Pennsylvania town, chat, There is none of that shit. And if I were to attack a man on his property, he had every right to boom me to oblivion, son, to send me to hell. You feel me? To kill me right there on the spot. He would have killed me, called the police on himself. They would have scraped my body up off his fucking front lawn. He would have went on about his day in his life, and I would be in the morgue. My mother having to fly all the way to Pennsylvania to identify my body and all this other shit. Like, that's why, son. Because you niggas is sensitive as hell, bro. Now, on the flip side of this shit, right? Now, if I'm at my crib, it's hot as hell, and I don't got AC for some reason, and I open the window, and it's a white dude, and I see him, and I say, yo, hold on, it's a cracker at my door. Y'all not going to bat an eye because I said that shit. So why would I bat an eye because this cracker said that shit? First of all, he didn't say, if he would have said, what do you want, nigga? I would have definitely I would have told him to, watch his motherfucking language when he talking to me and shit like that. That's different. But him just saying that on the phone to his buddy and shit like that, I don't give a fuck about that, man. Because I'm telling you right now, because if you would have fucking signed up, I would have made money off of that nigga. So then what? Who's the real goddamn winner? Anyway. Back to what I was saying. They done took the cracker they took the cracker away and the barrel away out of Cracker Barrel. That's insane. That's backwards. You feel me? And this is terrible. And the person who did it looks exactly like I thought she was going to look. Looks exactly like I thought she was going to look. I knew it. And she was just talking about, oh, everybody loves it. The employees, the customers, everybody loves it. Whatever. Let's listen to my man Kevin on stage. Talk to him, Kev.
Saw something on the internet. Dude said he ate in a remodeled Cracker Barrel and he hated it. And I want to join in on the hate. If the Cracker Barrel don't look like the Jim Crow South, I can't eat there. You got to have the racism aesthetic. You got to have the rocking chairs and the hint of segregation in the air. If I don't feel like I'm on the set of Sinners, then how do I know I'm in a Cracker Barrel? This is a gentrified Cracker Barrel. They done took all the character out of it. And I know the edges of the pancake ain't burnt. I got to feel like somebody wants to say, good morning, boy, when I go in, with respect. And no respect at all. I feel like they want me to work there, but they don't want to pay me ever. And I've got to live there. That's Cracker Barrel's thing. If you take that away, what is it? A Denny's, a IHOP? A place I don't want to be at.
Facts. We ain't got time for that shit, man. It's literally called Cracker Barrel, bro. If you're not trying to go to Cracker Barrel for crackers, I don't know what do you want? Because if I go to the nigga lounge, I'm going there for niggas. Like, that's what I'm going there for. The fuck is niggas talking about? It's called the Cracker Barrel. That's where the crackers are supposed to be at. You feel me? Goddamn. What else we got? Is that it? I think that's it, chat. I think we're done for today. Yeah. Oh, no. I wanted to hit y'all with this shit right here. We're going to leave on this note.
So if you become the person who educates people on money, and then you show them how to use insurance to save money on taxes, and you show them how to use insurance to create perpetual generational wealth for their families. Most people don't like life insurance. They don't want to talk about it. But what if life insurance were more than life insurance? What if life insurance were both income replacement insurance, whether you die or live? What if your family had it as a policy? I don't mean a life insurance policy, but a family policy that everybody in our family, our family trust buys a life insurance policy on everyone. And every time someone dies, the money from the life insurance policy goes into the family trust that all the family members are the beneficiaries of, and we take some of those life insurance proceeds and buy more life insurance on the people in the family. So as your family grows, your wealth grows. So if you become the person
simple shit like that, yo, these strategies are not complex. You got to understand, the average American is a C- student, son. So that means the average rich American, the average poor American, the average wealthy American, you feel me, is C student. Like these are concepts that you can absolutely grasp and do for yourself. So again, these are things that I implore you guys to take advantage of. I implore you guys to actually build generational wealth within your family. Think about these things. Start opening up custodial accounts for your babies, man. If you got young ones out there, get them a credit card in their name and barely use that shit. Just make sure that you just buying something and paying it right back. Buying something and paying it right back. No balance, none of that stuff. Just make sure that their credit profile is grown and all of that. Buy them assets. You feel me? Put the assets in their name. Income producing assets. You feel me? Get you some stocks that pay some dividends. You feel me? Get you some I like alternative investments. That's my bag. Like, gemstones, artwork, wine and whiskey. Like, I got a wine and whiskey portfolio. Get creative. That's all. You like, think of the future. Think about 25 years from now. Think about 2050. For the next month, just think about like, yo, what do I want for my kids? What do I want for myself in retirement? Like, you got to set yourself up. I'm seeing people using Bitcoin and shit like that as a retirement fund and all of that. And right now, I'm seeing that, there are Bitcoin-backed stocks that are paying dividends, and they're using the dividends that are paying out every month to buy more Bitcoin. You feel me? Like, it's incredible what you can do when you are a steward with your money. So, thank you guys for tuning in. This was another episode of Hotep History Live. I was your host, President Hotep Dubes, representing Hotep Nation. You can't have the future without the present, and you can't have the present without the past. We don't study history to live in the past, but to order our steps in the present so we can positively affect our future. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, Hotep.